story coming in. The Jaguars are the most penalized team in the league coming in as far as accepted fouls. Tonight, it's Kansas City, 12 fouls. 12 flags. Jacksonville, 4. First down and 15. Nobody's even rushing Mahomes, and he lets it go. Hoping for a penalty. Incomplete. Jaguars winning.
How about that for your Monday Night Football? The Jacksonville Jaguars take down the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Chiefs don't look like the Chiefs. The Jacksonville Jaguars don't look like the Jacksonville Jaguars. They look like a competent football team. Trevor Lawrence looks pretty good. That defense looks pretty good. Even though they were down 14 last night, the Jaguars get it done on Monday Night Football. We react and ask the question that nobody wants to answer, but we will ask the question in just a second. Welcome into Wire to Wire. He's Diesel. I am Cole Bryson. So good to be with you on this Tolo Tuesday. Diesel, the Chiefs dynasty. We will get to what happened in Jacksonville and some audio because last night's game was phenomenal with a capital F. But is the Chiefs dynasty, is it dead?
You shook me with that capital F. I was like, where's he going?
You like that?
Where's he going with that? I thought I was going to have to jump over the board and hit the dump button.
The capital F.
Look, you could fill a thimble. Good God, Cole. You could fill a thimble with all the tears from across the country of fans outside of Kansas City upset that the Chiefs dynasty seems as if it's over. The NFL is cyclical. That's what it's designed to be that way. It's designed for you to get really, really good, maintain it for a couple of years. Salaries get too expensive. Your best players age out, retire, change teams, whatever it may be, and then you sink back down to the bottom. And then you got good draft picks, and then you can build back up. A couple of years later, you'll be back. It's not like college football where you can reload year after year after year after year by putting a couple of $1 million in an 18-year-old's checking account. It's different in the pros, and that just tells me, Cole, that we are just 10 sweet short years away from the Carolina Panthers being Super Bowl champions.
Did you say 10?
Feels like
10?
it. Feels like it.
10?
Will football still even be legal by then? Too many head injuries.
It may be. Here's the reality of it, Diesel. I will be on record and say no. I do not believe the Chiefs dynasty is dead. However, I will tell you the Chiefs are not the dominant Super Bowl year in and year out Kansas City Chiefs that we know and have come to hate, right? It's a different team. What happened last night was absolutely wild. Kansas City goes up 14 points. Jacksonville answers back with 7. It's 14-7 at the half. Jacksonville scores 14 points in the third quarter, Diesel, to Kansas City 0. Kansas City comes back and scores 14 in the fourth. Jacksonville scores 10, and they win 31-28 last night. Tolos, if you didn't watch, you missed a heck of a football game. Jacksonville now 4-1. And just like Diesel answered, Tolos, want to hear from you as well at 844-326-3663. That's the Hub City Spartanburgers text line. You can also call the show, and Tolos already active on the stream in the chat. Is the Chiefs dynasty slipping away? That's the question we're asking. Diesel, this team right now, they're 2-3. And Patrick Mahomes said it last night, that they've just lost too many games. Duh, right, Captain Obvious? But they don't look like the well-oiled machine, right? They still have a lot of talent. Chris Jones, they still have Travis Kelce. They still have Patrick Mahomes back there. But Diesel, if you go into a factory or a plant and you're seeing a machine that's just got some hiccups to it, right? They aren't that well-oiled machine, and I think this team's still capable of being good. But what is that oil that gets them back to being well-oiled? They don't have that right now.
Well, I think it's time to go ahead and dig the hole, get ready to throw the body in there because it is right there on that edge, my friend. look, Travis Kelce is like 70 years old. He's going to retire. Andy Reid, he's 27. He's going to be gone before long. Patrick Mahomes is still Patrick Mahomes. And look, if they could bring in young players around Patrick Mahomes again, and I'm sure they have the money to do it, then you could rebuild this team very quickly. But it seems as if, Cole, they're content to sort of be in that farewell tour and not make a whole lot of changes to be able to stay dominant. Like even the Golden State Warriors, as great as they were, they age out, they get older, they just can't do it at the same level. And you can't just keep trotting the guys out there year after year after year. They're not getting any younger. You got to bring in fresh blood and fresh talent. And while Patrick Mahomes is still young enough to be elite, you got to do it soon if you're the Chiefs, or you fall into irrelevancy.
So, it's interesting you bring that up with Golden State Warriors, because that dynasty was very similar in the sense of, man, people either loved or hated Golden State in their run. Now, if you look at that dynasty, Diesel, and kind of use it as a comparison to the Kansas City Chiefs, Golden State recognized, kind of to your point, that, hey, we aren't the same team. Clay's getting older. Draymond's getting older. Steph's getting older.
By the end, Draymond's got more gray in his beard than he has black in his beard.
He does. And what did Golden State do when LeBron started to rise above just Curry, Clay, and Draymond and eliminated those guys? That the one season LeBron eliminated them and came back and won. And they were down 3-1. The Cavs came back and won the NBA championship. The Golden State Warriors recognized, hey, we've got to go get Kevin Durant. They go get Kevin Durant, add to the dynasty, and they rip off 2 or 3 more championships in a row. Kansas City played for the Super Bowl last year. They won the Super Bowl in 2024. They won the Super Bowl in 2023, right? They went back-to-back. They lost in 2021. Diesel to Tom Brady. They won in 2020 over San Francisco. So they've been in the last 4 or 5 Super Bowls. And when you look at this dynasty, at this team, I don't think they're anywhere close to being dead or blowing it up or anything like that. I just think that they've got to find out what that oil is that gets them back to being well-oiled, because you brought up Travis Kelce. I think you do have to start eliminating older guys.
Well, that oil is youth. You got to bring in some youth, even guys like Kareem Hunt. I know Kareem's not an older guy. He's not really an older player yet, but he's been in the league for a while. And I'm not saying it's time for the Chiefs to go start looking at running back, but man, do they have that dominant tight end that Patrick Mahomes can toss to almost every play and pick up 6, 7, 8, 10 yards like he used to? No, it's time for them to go get themselves a tight end that can replace Travis Kelce as soon as they possibly can. I mean, I'm saying do it before the trade deadline, not even wait till the draft next year.
I think youth is an important part of it. I like Isaiah Pacheco. I like Xavier Worthy. And Travis Kelce, he's not a deadbeat. Last night he showed that he can still catch the football. He can make a few plays. He's not the same Travis Kelce he was, but I do like Juju Smith-Schuster. They just are missing a few pieces. Here's what Patrick Mahomes said, Diesel, after last night's game, and then we'll get to the Jacksonville side of it and Trevor Lawrence and that ending. Are you kidding me how that game ended? But here's what Patrick Mahomes said post-game.
Kind of just talks about our whole entire season. I mean, I feel like we have the guys, and we've executed at certain points of game and looked really good, and then we kind of crush ourselves with penalties and mistakes and interceptions and fumbles or whatever that is. I mean, it's just we've kind of done that to ourselves all year long. It's kind of been one guy here or there, and in this league, it's so close that those change games, and so we got to be better. We've lost too many games already. And so we got to find a way to be better as a team and come together and play better throughout the rest of the season.
Well, maybe it's not even that this team is getting older. Maybe it's that Roger Goodell figured out that we're all on to him, that games were stacked, that refereeing was set up in advance. I'm thinking about that interception in the end zone that was a clear pass interference on the defense. That's the kind of play in the past, though, that would have gone the Chiefs' way.
Yeah. And look, I love Patrick Mahomes. I really do. I just ultimately believe and I don't know how many times I've said this, Diesel. We've talked about it. continuing a dynasty, staying at the mountaintop, so difficult. And I'm not saying the Chiefs can't do it, but ultimately, like we see, all roads do come to an end. And I'm not saying that Kansas City's dynasty's dead, but what I am saying, Diesel, is I believe the days of, if you look back at the past Super Bowls, right? They were in last year's, they were in 2024, they were in 2023, they weren't in 22, they were in 21, they were in 20, Diesel. That's 20, 21, 23, 24. They're in 5 of the last 6 Super Bowls. I believe that Kansas City team is fading out of the rearview mirror. Do I believe Kansas City can't be in Super Bowls anymore? No. I just don't believe. Do you realize how impressive that is, Diesel? 5 of 6 Super Bowls, you're in the game. I mean, that is just insane to say out loud, right? The fact that they've been in that many Super Bowls in the past 5-6 years, that many seasons, is extraordinary.
Yeah, but when you're talking about football players and what kind of toll 5 years takes on their body, they're not the same football team they were 5 years ago.
Right, and that's why, going back to the Golden State point, you've got to continue to throw guys on the roster. You've got to continue to adapt. You've got to continue to get new guys, new players, and they have. Like, I love Xavier Worthy. I think Xavier Worthy has a bright future in the NFL. I like Isaiah Pacheco pretty good. We saw Patrick Mahomes lose Tyreek Hill. The next season, he goes and wins the Super Bowl. So Patrick Mahomes is an elite quarterback, but Father Time also has a say in this, Diesel. And being able to be present in that many Super Bowls, that level of success isn't sustainable. Do I think Kansas City will never be in the Super Bowl again with Patrick Mahomes? No, I think they will be.
I mean, he's only 30, right?
Yeah.
He's 30, which is starting to round the back 9. You know, you're kind of at the turn of your career when you're 30 in the NFL. Most of these guys are out of the league by the time they're 35. You got to still remember that Tom Brady doing it to his level at what, 42? He was still playing in the NFL.
I thought it was 40.
That is unrealistic. Yeah. Even Aaron Rodgers playing well at his age is unrealistic. And, you know, people were already talking how many more Super Bowls is Mahomes going to get than Brady. Yeah, he was young, but there is no guarantee that things are linear, right? It's never this either flat line of performance, i.e. where he was at an elite level, you continue to play elite year after year after year after year in perpetuity, and there's no guarantee that it's a linear curve upwards. It's up and down and up and down and up and down. And man, I don't know if we're on one of those down strikes.
Now, on the Jacksonville Jaguars side of things, Diesel, last night what they did was just flat impressive. Travis Hunter, are you kidding me? What that guy did, what Trevor Lawrence did last night. Let's go to the audio of the big play of Travis Hunter, basically Randy Mossing 2 Kansas City defenders here. This was unbelievable.
Hopefully he'll be okay and be able to return. Extra man on the rush. Lawrence is able to float it, and Hunter makes the catch.
Just an unbelievable play by Travis Hunter. Diesel, also Trevor Lawrence, the way that in that very play he slid up in the pocket and avoided pressure. This guy was playing at an elite level last night, and having Travis Hunter, we talked about if he'd be able to play both ways, offense, defense. I think it's very, very clear through the first few games, Diesel, that Travis Hunter needs to be on offense. This guy's insane.
Yeah, phenomenal performance by him. And look, you feel good for those Jacksonville Jaguars fans. I'm not one of them, but you feel good for a team that has a franchise that has struggled almost all of its existence. And even, you know, you get Trevor Lawrence and you pair him with a guy he's familiar with in ETN, and then you keep getting early draft picks year after year. It really hadn't seemed to click. And they had, man, you get Urban Meyer and you think, we got this. We're good now. And then he sucks there. And it's great for those fans to see it happening.
3 more pieces of audio here. Travis Hunter on Devin Lloyd's 99-yard pick six. You talk about the Chiefs and what they can't do. I'll tell you what, man, I don't understand. You talk about like Kansas City's misfortune, Diesel, a bad play by Mahomes, a 99-yard interception last night for a touchdown. Are you kidding me? This is what Travis Hunter said after Devin Lloyd's pick six.
When did you know he was going to score on that play? When I know, once he broke the running back's tackle, I seen him just taking off, and Josh is there to help him, get the little bump on the receiver, so that was good. What did he say when you came to the sideline? Anything good? He ain't have nothing to say. He was too tired.
Too tired to speak after a 99-yard pick six. How about Trevor Lawrence, Diesel? Game winner. He takes the snap, gets stepped on, falls down. And at that point, you're thinking, oh, my God, he's lost the game. What is happening? Here's what he said after the game.
Let's start with your game-winning touchdown run. You get your foot stepped on, you're falling down, and somehow you score. What was it like from your perspective?
Oh, just panic, sheer panic on the ground, we didn't have any timeouts, got stepped on coming out, and I was like, I got to get up, and I was just going to throw it out of bounds to stop the clock, and then there was really no one around me, so went and made a play.
That just rarely, Diesel, that play rarely ever turns out good. And I mean rarely.
And they still would have had 3 more chances, right? If they throw that ball away, or if he just gets touched there at the 5-yard line, it's still 2nd and goal from the 5. And you may have a pretty good chance to get the ball in the end zone. That was just a gutsy heads-up play to get up off of the ground and then realize you had that kind of space off to your left. I mean, and it was the goofiest run, too.
Yeah.
I've seen people calling him, a baby deer, trying to figure out how to walk for the first time. He was high knees and he was going left, he was going right. He looked like a dad that was stepping on a pile of Legos that were left out on the floor.
I'm telling you, that play, that scenario, Diesel, happens 100 times, and 99 times Trevor Lawrence doesn't score. There's just no way. Here's what Liam Cohen said after the game about Trevor's miraculous play.
What was going through your head on that last touchdown? Throw it away.
No, I mean, because, when he got stepped on and he's coming out of it and you're like, oh, my gosh, throw it away so we could have another down. What an individual effort. I mean, obviously, tough moment where I can only imagine where he was at in that moment on the ground. But to get up, break, 3 tackles or whatever it was, 2 tackles and shed some dude off and go running in the end. I mean, that's an unbelievable individual effort. Yeah, we'd love it to be cleaner and just make it a nice executed play. But at the end of the day, it's about winning. And I'm proud of the toughness that he showed at the end of that game.
I'll tell you what was going through his mind at that exact moment, Cole.
Duval.
Yeah. And you know what, man? I'll be honest with you. I have to eat a little crow when it comes to Liam Cohen. When he was hired, I thought, man, this is the worst hire in the history of the National Football League. I mean, what in the world are the Jacksonville Jaguars doing? Hiring Liam Cohen? And look, Diesel, there's still a lot of football to play, but the Jaguars are 4-1. They're 3-0 at home. All of a sudden, JB just said it on the stream. These guys look like a legitimate playoff contender. And if you're a Clemson, Trevor Lawrence, this should excite you. I don't know many Jacksonville fans in the upstate other than Clemson fans, right?
Yeah.
Pulling for Trevor. But
my brother-in-law is a Jacksonville
fan. Is he really?
He's you can call it a sadist. They're interchangeable.
I'm telling you, man, I'm high on him. After last night, you go beat Kansas City. They're now 2-3. You're 4-1. And I think there's still a lot of talent on Kansas City's team. Don't get me wrong. But I do also feel like on the Jacksonville side of things, they've got a defense they haven't had. They've got some serious threat. That 99-yard pick six last night, you just don't see that happen much. Trevor Lawrence is playing really good last night. He did have 1 interception. He was 18 of 25, 221. Not like a miraculous night, but he did enough to get the job done. That 1 rushing play, sensational, Diesel. The only thing I would say, Trevor Lawrence was their leading rusher last night. That does concern me a little bit, right? 54 yards, 2 touchdowns. Look, if you want to get involved in the run game, fine. But Travis Etienne last night, Diesel, didn't have a big night. 12 carries, 49 yards. That's the only thing I look at with Jacksonville and say, okay, they've got to get this run game going a little bit more.
Well, we're going to find out who this Jacksonville Jaguars team really is over the next couple of weeks. They got Seattle coming up in just 5 days.
Yeah.
And then they have the Rams, Raiders, Houston, Chargers coming to town. So they got a couple of tough games over the next 5. 3 out of the next 5 are decently tough games. Get a little bit of a break, Arizona, Tennessee, and then they got to face the other surprising team in the NFL, and those Indianapolis Colts.
And, I guess the good thing about that is you have afforded yourself a little bit of wiggle room, Diesel, not a tremendous amount, but you start 4-1 on the season. You've afforded yourself a little bit of wiggle room, mistakes here and there. Like opposed to a team like Dallas, who's 2-2-1, who is still fighting to get back in the hunt in terms of playoffs and being not buried, right? Like an 0-5 Jets team. You have, if you're Jacksonville, you have afforded yourself that. Now, on the flip side, Kansas City, they're 2-3. They have not afforded themselves, right? They're 2-3, Diesel. Let that sink in.
Can you believe this? Tolo's 2 segments in a row to start the show talking NFL, and Corn Chip on the text line at 844-326-3663. He brought this up. He's itching to hear our takes on it. Is this the most likable thing Jerry Jones has ever done? Flipping off fans. We'll talk about it next on the Fan Upstate. Is Jerry Jones suddenly becoming likable? Not in the sense that, like, he's a happy-go-lucky, fun guy that you would want to share a cab with, but in the modern, digital, internet age, when it's really all just about dunking on your rivals, trolling fans, and just being generally entertaining. If you haven't seen the video yet, Jerry Jones is catching a lot of flack. He's catching a lot of heat from up in his bougie press box, in his bougie suite, looking down on fans. Jerry Jones is throwing birds at people. Throwing birds at people. And if you haven't seen it yet, go find it. It's great. He's standing right there at the window, and the windows are open, by the way. It's the kind of suite windows that do slide down, kind of like the old school bus windows. Dewey knows all about those, except the buses that he sees them on are short. They have fewer windows. But there's probably, in this camera angle, there's 5 or 6 fans who are turned around filming Jerry Jones, which I'm sure is probably kind of par for the course. Kind of happens all the time. Dak Prescott throws a touchdown, extends the Cowboys lead, and Jerry Jones gives a thumbs up, flashes a quick bird, and then points like, hey. Now, Jerry, unfortunately, Cole, is not owning this bird. Jerry is saying, it was unfortunate. It was accidental. I was trying to transition from a thumbs up to a point, and somehow the middle finger came out. I don't know. Can I give a bird on the stream? Am I allowed to do that?
I don't see why not.
Tolos,
who's gonna
would
say
you be
anything?
offended by that? Dewey would.
No, I don't. I mean, I don't think there's a stream police, is there?
I don't know.
No.
Well, it is the internet.
No,
but,
you can
but
give
then
a bird.
again, I don't think FCC has any rights over this. But he does this, and then he tries to transition to the finger point, but it goes, huh. But it's not like the finger is just pointing right at the people down below. He like drops the hand like a huh. And then he turns to a point. I love it. I love that he did this. I just hate that he denied that it was intentional, because it sure as heck looked intentional to me.
So I'm confused as to why people are upset about it. Like, what is wrong with Jerry Jones?
Conduct unbecoming of an owner.
Well, guess what? If that's the worst conduct my owner has against them, we're in really good shape, because it's not. Okay,
he could have thrown a drink on somebody.
He could have, and let's be honest, he's done a lot worse. Heck, we've all done a lot worse. My God, he flipped somebody off, and we're freaking out about it.
What's worse than the bird? The double bird?
I guess so. And I mean that's their biggest rival, the Eagles, the Birds. I mean, come on, Jerry Jones has a past of doing all kind of crazy sorts of things, and we're getting upset about him flipping a bird to somebody. I got flipped 9 birds on the way here today driving up 85, right? Who cares? Just flipping a bird. I mean, people are so sensitive. And then, I mean, are we really, or we're going to find a guy for it? I mean, that's where we are now.
So last I saw, and when I was kind of thinking about what I wanted to talk about and how I wanted to bring this up, the NFL had not decided if they were going to fine Jerry or not.
Yeah.
Well, it seems, and this is literally in the last couple of minutes, it's been posted $250K. Yeah. $250,000 for flipping a bird. I'd say, look, if I was Jerry, I'd lean into it at this point. I'm like, yeah, I meant it. Fine me. I got billions. Your $250,000 is couch cushion money to me.
$250,000. I guess is this just like the NFL saying we have to do something, so we're just gonna find them a little $250. And I know $250K to us is a grand amount of money, but to Jerry Jones,
pay off my house.
Right, $250K is nothing. So I don't know what's the point in really finding him $250,000. What's the point?
Well, the question is, how are you even going to fine him? Like, are there NFL distributions to the Cowboys that they're just going to subtract $250,000 from? Because I guarantee you, there is nobody with a shield on their shirt, and sure as hell ain't going to be Roger Goodell knocking on Jerry Jones's door. Heck, he probably can't even get on the block that Jerry Jones lives on, and saying, hey, Jerry, I need you to cut me a check, $250, let's go.
So let me ask you, this is a serious question. It's a fine for an owner to flip somebody off? Like, that's
I would
crazy to
assume
me.
that there is some kind of morality clause, like conduct unbecoming.
God.
Players have it in their contracts. They have it in their – I'm sure we have something similar to that in our contracts and say, hey, you can't do anything that embarrasses the league. I mean, if you can't do anything to embarrass the franchise, it's his franchise.
And the thing about it is the NFL is probably going to make a little bit of money off of this. The fact that, people are talking about it. I mean, the NFL is going to make something off of it.
If I'm Jerry, I'm countering this and saying, you know what, NFL? I'm going to fine myself $500,000. And he'll just take it from one hand, put it in the other hand. Take it out of one pocket, put it in the other pocket.
See, I think he should deliver the $250,000 in pennies. Put it in pennies and set it at the front doorsteps of the NFL headquarters. What are they, New York? Is that right?
Turning into an episode of Seinfeld.
Yeah.
You didn't watch Seinfeld. There was that one episode where Kramer walks around with like $100 worth of pennies in his cargo pants.
Okay. Well, I think that's a brilliant idea. $250,000 in pennies. Actually, better than that, take your helicopter that you have, Jerry, and what's that one movie where they have all the cash and they're trying to make it over the mountain with a helicopter and they land in some little foreign village? Put the pennies in a big, huge, whatever it is.
What
a big
movie is that?
Yeah, I don't know. So I can't remember the name of it. Anyways, put the pennies underneath the helicopter, drive the helicopter to New York, lower it down and set it right on the front doorsteps. $250K in pennies.
Whoa. There's New York doesn't have a great history of people flying objects into the city. That's not I don't know if that's a good idea. And you certainly can't drop them, Cole. You can't pelt the people of New York City.
I think you should,
with Abraham Lincoln.
I think you should. I mean, do you know how?
Just go drop it on Goodell's lawn. How about that? Make him go pick it up.
That's 25 million pennies.
What does that even look like?
25 million pennies. What would that's a great question. Could you fill this room right here that we're sitting in, this small studio, with 250 million pennies? That's what it equals to, if I'm not mistaken.
250,000 times 100.
Should be 250 million.
It's 250,
Or 25 million. 25 million. Yep.
How large
25 million pennies
be?
That's a question for ChatGPT.
This is
right
AI
there.
here,
yeah.
okay? It says
25 million pennies.
For 25 million U.S. pennies, which would be worth $250,000, the sheer size and weight would be impractical for any ordinary collection or transaction. The total volume would be approximately the size of a small school bus.
No.
Bringing it all full circle,
No.
a short bus. Dewey's short bus, pennies stacked up together.
No.
That's how big it would be.
It says I asked ChatGPT, it says it would be 137,000 pounds. So that equals diesel. That equals 68.9 tons, roughly the weight of a loaded semi-truck.
God.
Of pennies.
I would
back him up on Roger Goodell's stupid little
release
doorstep.
him on his lawn. Make him go out there and rake up all those pennies. You want my money? Here's how you get it, Raj.
Pennies. I love it. I mean, what are we doing here? Jerry, that is the most what's the word here? That is the most ethically moral thing Jerry Jones has ever done, is flip somebody off compared to what it's flipping a bird, and we're going to find somebody to it. I know $250K is nothing to Jerry Jones, but still, I think it's kind of outlandish to find an owner in the NFL with all the past diesel and all these owners. We're going to find an owner for flipping somebody off.
Sports Talk on the Fan Upstate is presented by Paramount Plus. You can't count on much, but you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Watch your local NFL game live every Sunday, all season long. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today.
Oh, Kane had a good idea on the stream. He says Jerry could sell shirts of him flipping like that picture. Take that picture of him flipping a bird. Hey. Oh, he would have those shirts. He'd have that $250,000 raised in less than an hour. Are you kidding me?
The Boz,
I'd buy one.
The Boz that was selling I Hate the Boz t-shirts, he was selling the t-shirts to the fans of the opposing teams that hated him.
If you sell them for $10, that's 25,000 people.
Done. I'd give them away. I'd put them out on every chair inside Jerry World next home game. I would make sure. What does Jerry World hold? 70,000-ish, roughly? I'd put 70,000.
Oh, yeah. Put them
Jerry
on the backs
Jones
of the seats.
Flipping the middle finger t-shirts out on seats. You got to make them all 2 or 3 XL because, it is Texas.
Would he get fined for that? Taking that shirt, seating capacity 80,000. Okay. So putting 80,000. That's 80, a good question.
Triple X t-shirts.
That's a great question.
3XL is what I meant.
Would he get fined for that?
Oh, man.
Hey, Roger, you don't like it? Now 80,000 of my fans are going to have a T-shirt on of me flipping a Jets. And another thing, it's the Jets.
To me, it makes Jerry less likable again, that he is trying to say, I didn't mean it. I didn't do it. Lean in, Jerry. Lean in.
Steven probably told him not to lean into it, you know. Don't pour gasoline on this thing, Dad.
I'm just trying to think about all the owners. God, I'm blanking on his name now. The guy that used to own the Knicks, all these terrible owners, the ex-owners,
Snyder from the
Dan Snyder,
Redskins.
Like, did any of those guys ever do anything that was actually likable? Like, everybody thought they were drugs. And I know it's probably not right to put Jerry Jones in the same category as those guys. But, I mean, did they ever do anything that was likable?
That's a good
I don't
question.
know. Has Dave Tepper ever done anything that was likable? Outside of donating Bank of America Stadium for that concert for Carolinas, has Dave Tepper done anything that's inherently likable?
That's a good question. Dave Tepper, what is...
I mean, I'm thinking back to that time when he barged in on the Dilworth Neighborhood Grill. Great restaurant. I've been there, so I can give you a real review.
Yeah.
And he took the hat off of the host or the hostess's head, and it was a Philadelphia Eagles hat. I mean, it would have been more likable thing for him to do if he had gone in there, taken the hat off, and said, nobody wears an Eagles hat in my town.
Yeah, so let me ask you this question before we move on from Jerry. Do you remember the alleged daughter lawsuit from a couple of years ago? This was like
Not
2
really.
or 3 years ago. So I'm 29, right? And Diesel was born in July of 96. The Cowboys won their last Super Bowl in February of 96. So there is a woman
So they've been
named
terrible your whole life.
They have not made it back to an NFC title game. Alexandra Davis was born the same year as me. She's my age. She claims that she's Jerry's daughter, and her mom, I think, was a flight attendant in the same city the Cowboys won the Super Bowl. So Alexandra Davis sued Jerry Jones in 2022, just a few years ago, in a state court in Dallas, seeking a judgment that a 1998 agreement entered into when she was 2 years old that was not yet enforceable. So the agreement required Alexandra and her mother, Cynthia Davis, to keep silent about Jones' alleged paternity in exchange for financial support. So basically what that means is Jerry was giving them money to keep quiet about it. And allegedly she is Jerry's daughter. That happened with a flight attendant right about the time the Cowboys won the Super Bowl. She was born the same year as me.
And why didn't you try to date her when you were in Dallas?
I did.
I
mean,
mean,
I couldn't find her.
It's a heck of an investment opportunity, right?
Trust me, that thought crossed my mind.
If women can do it, men can do it too.
Right? So my point being, if Jerry flipping a Jets fan off is the worst thing, we're in good shape.
I
We
love
really
this
are.
move. I want more of this,
We
Jerry.
really are, man.
He's ancient, okay?
He
doesn't have much time left. Flip off whoever you want, Jerry. That's one of the best things about getting old is you can do stuff like that.
Yeah.
And nobody can really say anything to you about it. Oh, he's from a different time.
Hey.
He doesn't know. He doesn't realize what he's doing. And he's so cute.
Speaking of getting old, you know who I thought about this morning, Diesel? Do you know who I thought about this morning?
The possibilities are endless.
I thought about, and I don't know what triggered it. We haven't heard from Harold. Harold is not in the upset picks challenge.
Man, now you just had to bum me out.
But I'm not implying anything. I'm just saying.
Well, you
No, I'm not implying anything.
No,
No.
Yes, you did.
No,
You implied it.
I'm just
through your
saying
implication.
maybe he's forgotten about us.
Come on. Have you
Maybe he's forgotten about us.
You've seen Always Sunny in Philadelphia. You know about the implication.
But Harold told us that he was going to win the upset picks challenge. You remember that?
Do any Tolos know Harold? Do any Tolos know where he is? If he's okay, let us know. Have him call us.
Hadn't heard. And I did something even further than that. I was looking online. I miss Harold. I don't know. I miss him. I miss Harold. I hope he's okay. He was really excited about the upset picks challenge. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Diesel, it's time to get to our Daily Wires, the buzz that's happening next. Well, we have a lot to get to on the show. We dive deep into segments, but we also do a segment called Daily Wires, where we hit all of the topics happening in the sports world. Michael Martin, let's start with the Fan Upstate Player of the Week. Diesel Michael Martin of Christchurch has been named the Fan Upstate Player of the Week for Week 6, the second Christchurch player this season. to be named the Fan Upstate Player of the Week. Michael is the running back for Christchurch. On Friday against St. Joe's, Michael had 37 carries for 223 yards and 3 touchdowns. He also hauled in 3 receptions for 60 yards, 283 all-purpose yards for Michael Martin of Christchurch.
And he got a snazzy graphic. Great job putting that together.
He did get it. And I saw on Twitter, I believe last weekend, he visited your App State Mountaineers. So we'll have to ask him about that.
Choice.
Yeah, I have to ask him about that when we have him on this week. We're still lining that up, Tolo. So we always have our player of the week on. And Monday Night Football last night, the Jacksonville Jaguars defeated the Kansas City Chiefs 31-28, now 4-1 on the season. Kansas City now 2-3.
Just to steal a little bit from Chris Berman, he was stumbling, bumbling, but not fumbling on his way to the end zone. Way to go, Trevor Lawrence.
He was a big game for Trevor Lawrence last night.
He's so goofy when he runs.
He is. He's so big. He's just so lanky. Massive trade news. The Cleveland Browns have traded Joe Flacco in a 6th-round pick to the Cincinnati Bengals for a 5th-round pick. Shedeur Sanders has now moved up to QB2.
God, could you imagine playing in the league for as long as Joe Flacco has, and your worth is a 5th-round pick?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Life comes at you fast. But we had the audio last week, Diesel, when you were gone about Shedeur not being happy about not being QB2, and bam, a week later, he gets his wish.
What did you make of, and I wasn't here last week, the interview questions where he was answering but only mouthing the words, not actually saying the words? Did you see that clip?
No, I didn't.
Oh, they asked him, like, what do you think about something, you're QB3 on the depth chart. How do you feel about it? And he just goes,
really? No, I did not see that.
Yeah. I mean, what he said, if you read his lips, is something to the effect of, like, this franchise sucks, and I wish I was – no, he said basically, I'm just here to do my job. I'm excited for the opportunity every week. But, it's just some people may look at it as a little snarky, a little childish. Other people might look at it and say, he's just goofing off and having fun.
How about that? He is a little bit childish, though. Let's see here. The Dodgers defeated the Philadelphia Phillies on Monday by a score of 4-3. The Dodgers have yet to lose a postseason baseball game. The Brewers defeated the Cubs 7-3. Today, the Mariners-Tigers face off in literally 20 minutes from now. 20 minutes. Sorry, bad math. The Yankees and the Blue Jays will play tonight at 8:08 p.m. In Cali, Los Angeles Chargers running back Omarion Hampton will be placed on the IR with an ankle injury. Coach Jim Harbaugh said on Monday by going on IR, Hampton will miss at least the next 4 games. So now some really bad injury news for this this LA Chargers team who has a lot of talent, but man, they've kind of been hit by the injury bug as of late. Diesel, Auburn moving its 2026 home game with Baylor to Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. Why? Well, NIL. 3 letters for you. What do you mean? What am I talking about here? So it is now going to be a neutral site game. The Peach Bowl, in coordination with Aflac, will provide opportunities for promotional appearances for Auburn players, promoting ticket sales, events, and more. I'm going to give a quote here by John Cohen. John Cohen said, anytime we have the ability to advance Auburn student athletes' ability to earn third-party NIL compensation, we will take that opportunity. The exposure of playing on a national stage against a Power 4 opponent in one of the premier neutral site games in the country will not only benefit our student athletes financially, but it will also enhance their brand.
So that sounds to me a little bit like they might say, hey, starting quarterback, do a 20-second commercial or 15-second commercial and say, hey, come to Atlanta, go to Scores or whatever, go to the Varsity. We'll be there tomorrow signing autographs and make a little money off of it.
That's what it sounds like. And by the way, the Varsity has gotten bad lately. It's not the same.
Scores isn't what it used to be either.
I don't think I ever went. Yeah. I don't know, man.
Why'd you laugh at the Cheetah Club?
No, I just laugh. I'm not a fan of the Varsity anymore. Kentucky coach Mark Stoops angrily denied that he has talked with school officials about a possible buyout after his Wildcats lose 35-14. After his Wildcats lost 35-14 to Georgia on Saturday. He said, I'd hate to give anything like that legs. There's zero chance I'm walking away. There's no quitting me. So that's unequivocally 100% false. Anyone who tells you that is lying.
Getting touchy like Shane Beamer over there.
A little emotional, Mark.
Thou doth protest too much.
I'm telling you. What do they say? The first one to speak's always the guilty party. It kind of sounds like a little upset. Triggered, Diesel is what they say now.
Yeah.
Quarterback of Oklahoma, John Mateer, who was sidelined with a broken bone in his throwing hand and had surgery on it just 2 weeks ago, is already pushing to return in Saturday's game. Are you kidding me? Against Texas? Oklahoma coach Brent Venables has said publicly that it's uncertain when he will return.
Maybe playing some mind games with Texas, you know?
Do you have to play mind games with Texas right now as bad as they are? I mean, what are we doing here?
No, but it's just fun.
Yeah, it is. Let's see. Duke is getting help from former Blue Devils player and Boston Celtics star Jason Tatum. The school announced Tuesday that the 6-time NBA All-Star would serve in a volunteer advisory role for the program as chief basketball officer. Tatum's task will include in-person visits with the team to discuss development, professionalism, and team culture, as well as monitoring athletes in areas such as career management, building a personal brand, or managing time demands as a college athlete.
The culture is we have no culture here. You're going to be in the NBA next year, so it doesn't matter.
I'll tell you what, man, I'm surprised. I love that, but Diesel, I'm very surprised that as rigorous as an NBA schedule is, Jason Tatum's going to have time to.
Yeah, how's he going to do that? On his occasional off weeks, if the Celtics happen to come to Charlotte, he's going to have time to ride up to Durham and take care of this?
They play like 3 times a week. The NBA does. That'll be interesting.
It'll be on Zoom.
The Upset Picks Challenge returns tomorrow. Entries open at 4. And Diesel, last but not least, Deion Sanders reacts to Shador being moved up to QB2.
Yeah, I got that text during practice. We're just wondering what your reaction is. I don't give a damn about the Browns at all. I care about the Colorado Buffaloes. I do love me some Shador Sanders. Don't believe that. I care about him. The rest of that mess, I don't. Okay? I'm a coach trying to win just like they're trying to win games, but I could care less of who they traded.
I love that audio.
Okay.
I love that audio.
I like I could care less about the Browns.
Well, he does need to fix his syntax. I couldn't care less. I couldn't care less, Deion. Come on now.
Yeah.
When we come back, Cole, you just mentioned it, the Upset Picks Challenge that returns, 24 hours and 6 minutes from right now. When we come back, some of my early leans. Take it from somebody who hit on their pick last week. I've got some early leans for you. You can tell me how you feel about them. And Tolos, if you have some games that you're thinking about, go ahead and let us know about that too. 844-FAN-PHONE on the text line and on the stream on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. In case you haven't seen them, the wire-to-wire upset picks challenge for week number 6 standings are up on our Facebook and our Twitter page. It is pinned as the top tweet on our account. And unfortunately, Facebook doesn't let you do that. So you're going to have to scroll down and find it. But it's right there. You're going to see it. It's there's only a couple things sitting on top of it. As of right now, Dave Mosley, I don't know what it is, Cole. Does he have a horseshoe up his rear end? Does he have some sort of a sports almanac that tells him who's winning? Because out of 7 weeks of picks, that's 6 weeks of games and week 0 before that, he has hit 6 out of 7 times.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy, we need to just start picking what he picks, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Just copy him.
Wait, we'll just wait. See, that's the problem is we give ours early and we don't wait for Dave Mosley and what he's picking. He's got 61.5 points, and that is so exceptional, Cole, because last year, and remember, you got the 12 weeks of games, you've got pre-Christmas bowls, you've got post-Christmas bowls, so that's, 14, 15-ish weeks of picks. Last year, the winning score was 85 points. And he is 24 points away from that right now. Yeah. And we're only on week 6, which I got so depressed yesterday. I was looking at this. I was like, man, we're in week 6 already.
Oh, it's terrible. How do you think I feel?
Through.
How do you think I feel with high school football? We're in week 7 and there's only 10 weeks. There's only a few weeks of high school football left. It's awful.
We got playoffs. Burns is going to make a run. But that.
It doesn't last too long enough. It doesn't last. And I will say, regarding the upset picks challenge, this is the first week of something. Do you know what that first is? Think hard.
Conference games?
Nope.
More conference games? I don't know.
No.
Double or nothing?
No. We have college games tomorrow.
Ooh.
Wednesday, Conference USA.
Coosa?
Yes. On a Wednesday, 2 games tomorrow. So you
right.
can get your pick in early and lose early.
I feel bad for those players that are playing in Conference USA. They got to play Wednesday night games.
Wednesday. And think
Mac
about this.
plays Thursday night games, and there is nobody in October and November going to Wednesday night games in Ypsilanti, Michigan.
And here's the worst part. If you pick a Wednesday or even a Thursday game and lose, that bad feeling you have to wait until next Wednesday. You have to wait a whole week.
Yeah.
And there are 4 Thursday night games, and then there are 3 Friday games. So here's the only bad part, Diesel. When you look at the 2 Wednesday games, the spread on both games is 1.5. So I would say we don't have any total.
Probably right. You're probably right.
Nobody's going to pick those games.
There are a few like small spread games that I think some people might take, but I wouldn't take them unless you already have a lot of points, Cole. And one of those is Wake Forest at Oregon State plus 2.5 points. I just watched Oregon State play last week. They're pretty bad. They're pretty
horrible.
Bad. But I mean, and they got a quality quarterback. What was his name? Played at Duke last year. If I hadn't had to think of it right off the top of my head.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Oh, what was his name? He went to where? He went to
Malik
Oregon.
Murphy.
Malik Murphy. Oregon State.
He was at Duke.
That's right.
He was at Texas before that. I mean, he is a tree. He is a redwood compared to all those players on that team. But they don't play a bad brand of football. I don't know how they play against everybody else because I don't think I've watched any Oregon State football this year, but they do a really great job playing that intermediate passing game, that anywhere between 7 and 15 yards. They were deadly. I mean, they were torching App State. Now, they don't have a particularly strong secondary either, but they were torching us on that play. Here's the thing, though. Wake Forest has to go all the way across the country to play at Oregon State. And think about what happened with Penn State, having to go all the way across the country to play at UCLA. And similar situation, UCLA had just fired a coach. Oregon State just fired their special teams coordinator.
Only difference, Diesel. The only difference is James Franklin's not the coach of Oregon State. And for that reason, they won't lose. Because if James Franklin was the coach, they'd lose the game. Well, but you're right. It could be interesting.
Wake Forest is not a world beater this year. Come on. It's
Robbie
Ashford and the Fighting Demon Deacons going
They're not good.
Across country, crossing multiple time zones. Again, that one's only worth 2.5 points, but out of all the games that I've looked at so far, and I haven't obviously looked at all of them, But I would say that might be the closest thing to a sure thing that's on this list, but it's just not worth that many points.
I'm glad you said sure thing because I've got a sure thing bet. However, it's not upset picks related, but on the sure thing note, before we get to the upset pick early leans, don't look. Right now, Alabama plays Missouri Saturday. Do you know the spread already for that game?
Alabama, Missouri. I don't know off
what
top
would
of my
you
head.
guess?
Alabama at Missouri?
Uh-huh.
I would probably say Alabama favored by 3.5.
2.5.
Okay.
Give me that. That's my sure bet of the week. Give me
Really?
Bama. 2.5.
Okay.
Yes. Are you kidding me?
Wow. Look how far you've come
I've
around
come a
on
long
Kalen
way.
DeBoer.
I love that guy. I think he's the best coach ever. I wanted him fired 6 weeks ago, but I think he's the best coach ever. I really do. But here I am again, Diesel, looking at several games, having no idea where my early lean is or the up. I've hit one time this year.
Well, I've hit 2, so I'm doing
better.
100% better than you are.
You are.
Boomer,
I hate this challenge.
Boomer Bill says he's looking at. I hope you realize, Boomer Bill, that this is not a valid pick, and I hope that you're sending this in as an early lean. He's early leaning Arizona State plus 6.5 over Utah.
I don't think he is. I think he's
Boomer
picking.
Bill, you just know that's not a valid pick.
Doesn't open tomorrow, Bill.
Resend it tomorrow after 4:00. I've also looked, Cole, at here's a fun one, man. This might be the most adorable story in college football in 2025. Bowling Green and their Persian cat mascot named Pudge that is drawing thousands of fans to Bowling Green State University games. They are 2-0 since Pudge has been adopted as the team's unofficial mascot. The cat belongs to their long snapper, George Carlson. There was a story about it that I saw. I don't know if it was on Game Day or if I just saw it as a random ESPN app kind of story.
Yeah.
But somebody in his family passed away. I think it might have been his mom or his grandma. So he bought this cat to help him deal with it. So he started bringing the cat to games because the team needed a little bit of a spark or bringing it into the locker room. And all of a sudden, they're 2-0 at home since bringing Pudge to the games.
How about that stat? I didn't expect to hear a mascot-related stat today.
What's Bowling Green's actual mascot? Do you know?
Bowling Green. Let me close my eyes and think. Bowling Green.
It's not a bowl of cereal, I can tell you that.
Bowling Green. Fighting? Is this a fighting something?
I don't think so.
Bowling Green. Bowling Green. I have no idea.
The Falcons.
I would never have guessed that.
The Bowling Green Falcons.
That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make sense. Hey, here's my first early lean. 3:30 Saturday. Nebraska at Maryland, Diesel. Both teams 4-1. Nebraska on the road is favored by 6.5. I like that 6.5, 7 number. I've been almost every week this week hovering around that 6.5.
It feels like the best place to be.
I know. I get scared to go any higher. So
you've jumped out of a plane, but you're scared to go higher than 6.5.
Correct. Maryland Diesel is the home dog. Both teams are 1-1 in the Big Ten. I like Raiola a lot at Nebraska, but I also like a home dog. I really do. I love home underdogs when it comes to betting and wager. I like Maryland here. That's my first early lean. Maryland, Nebraska, 3:30 on Saturday, 6.5. Love it, hate it?
Are you saying that there is an elite home field advantage at CQ Stadium, SECU?
No, not really. No,
I
not
wouldn't
really.
think so either.
No, I don't think so. But for whatever reason, home dogs do sometimes.
Hey, you get a little extra bump from the crowd. By the way, that Toledo Bowling Green game, Bowling Green are the home dogs, worth 10.5 points.
Interesting.
So, hey, I'm just saying.
Yeah. Oh, and also, by the way, real quick note, the Mariners-Tigers game has been delayed. It has not started yet. So that game that was supposed to start a few minutes ago has not started.
Could I interest you at all, Cole, in UCLA plus 8.5 on the road at Michigan State? Both of these teams give up a ton of points. Now UCLA's got a little spark. They're feeling good about themselves. I mean, this could be a race to 40 points.
I looked at that game, and my only concern is a little bit of a hangover for UCLA. Beating James Franklin, which I guess really isn't that impressive anyways, last week, right? And maybe having a little bit of a hangover this week. I don't know. That scares me. Are they Are they legit? Is Nico finding something? What's the spread on that?
8.5.
It's a nice spread.
8.5.
Nice spread.
The way you say that sounds filthy, Cole. I like
8.5 points. And Nico, maybe they have a hangover, but maybe Nico's figured it out. Maybe Nico's got this thing rolling now.
Here's the last one that I'm considering.
I like that
Cole,
one, by the way.
That we can talk about.
Okay.
This game, the underdog has the number 12 leading passer in college football in terms of passing yards, total passing yards, the 12th best quarterback in college football, and they are road dogs at a conference game.
SEC team?
Nope. Think smaller. I could just tell you.
Yeah, tell me.
It's East Carolina. East Carolina. Caton Hauser has just over 1,500 yards, the 12th leading quarterback in FBS.
Yeah, I'll never guess that.
Their team plays really good defense, too. East Carolina plays good defense. Tulane does as well. ECU's defense just a little more consistent than Tulane. That one's worth 6.5 points on the road.
Not bad.
If you're willing to go the Pirates down there in Louisiana.
What about this one? 4:00 Saturday, 5-0 Navy. Diesel on the road at Temple. Navy's a 9.5 point dog. Again, just kind of thinking, Navy's a 9.5 point favorite on the road at Temple. Thinking again along the same lines, Temple 1-0 in the American. They're a home dog. I don't know how many fans they'll have at Lincoln Financial Field in Pennsylvania, the Eagles Stadium.
Do they have to tarp off the extra or upper bowl?
I would imagine.
Temple games?
I would imagine so. I would imagine they don't have a huge fan base there.
Temple's
right?
last 5 games started off the season with a win at UMass, followed that up with a big road win at Howard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
lost big to Oklahoma, lost big to Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
And then 27-21 ball game at home against UTSA. So just kind of a
you talked me out of that
up
one.
and down.
Yep.
Up and down kind of team.
Yeah, they talked me out of that one. What about DJ Lagway continuing his little run here, taking down A&M, Diesel A&M.
You know Florida fans can't have anything nice.
But they're a 7.5 point favorite, are the Aggies. Now, this one's in College Station, so it's going to be tough, right?
That one blows my mind that it's only a 7.5 point spread. I would think that one, a road game, would be a little more spread than that.
I just don't think Florida does it 2 weeks in a row.
No, I don't.
You know what
either.
I mean? Against Texas.
And
I like
fans,
A&M.
Oddly enough, a lot of Florida fans want them to lose.
Yep.
They want Billy Napier out of there so bad. T-Experience, right, called in yesterday. It said he wants Florida to lose because he wants Billy Napier out of town.
Do we know how good? Here's an interesting question I do have, legit question. How good's Texas Tech? And the reason I asked this question, the Red Raiders are number 9 in the country. You would think, okay, they're pretty good, right?
13.5 point favorites at home against Kansas.
And Kansas is not a bad team. They're 4-2.
4-2, yeah.
2-1 in conference.
Jaden Daniels.
Who's Texas Tech beat? They beat UAPB, something about Pabst Blue Ribbon Golden Lions. Kent,
better beer than people give it credit for.
Kent State. Oh. Oregon State. Horrible.
Anybody can beat Oregon State.
They beat Utah. Utah and Houston.
Yeah.
So they hadn't beaten anybody.
But the point is, look at their offensive production. 35, 34, 45, 62, 67. Tech? Yeah, Texas Tech. And look at their consistent defense. 11, 10, 14, 14, and 7.
But Jalen Daniels has had a monster year. 1,500 yards, 16 touchdowns, 2 picks. Are you kidding me for Jalen Daniels?
That is a really intriguing game. I wonder what the model is seeing.
Sounds like Jaden Daniels, not Jalen Daniels.
What are they seeing that the model is only giving Kansas a 25% chance to win this game?
So here's what I'll tell you. I Diesel typically wouldn't take or bite on a 13.5 point swing here. Ooh. That's a lot of points. But in terms of getting back, I mean, you hit on 13.5, you're up there.
Tiger Pal Rachel says, scared money don't make money,
She's
Cole.
right. She's right.
Can Tiger Pal Rachel talk you into going bigger?
100%. 100%. She could probably talk me into taking this game, putting it down, go ahead and writing it down. I mean, I like Jalen Daniels, man, and I don't believe Texas Tech has played anybody with a pulse.
Do you think
Big 12 sucks? Sorry.
Do you think we're going to get the Clemson haters saying that beating UNC was only a one-time affair, and they're going to slump right back to where they were because they are 14.5-point road favorites at Boston College.
Night game.
Are you convinced, Tolos, that Clemson is back?
Ugh.
And if you're not convinced that they're back, you might be willing to take this game because it's worth 14.5 points.
Problem
they got
is,
a good quarterback.
Boston College isn't good.
I know. I mean, maybe a good quarterback is all they got.
I also looked at Purdue, Minnesota Diesel.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Minnesota in person Saturday night. They're horrible. Minnesota's awful at football. And I don't know anything about Purdue. They're 2-3, 0-10 in the Big Ten.
One of my favorite mascots, just really bad at football.
Oh, they're so bad. I mean, taking Purdue there is not a bad little play. 7.5 points.
And they decided to play outside, right? Didn't they take down their dome and they built a new outdoor stadium?
I picked Purdue twice last year and it did not pay off. Right now I'm looking at Purdue.
Purdue is like, it's like a planet. It only comes around once a year. They come around once every 5 or 6 years.
To answer your question, I'm too scared to take BC. I am. I just don't think they're good. Diesel, they're 1-4. They're 1-4. And I know Clemson's only 2-3, but my God, the Clemson, I mean, there's no way you go back to what you were, is there? You don't lose to Boston College, do you?
You can't.
No, God. I would not imagine there'd be many. By the way, a ticket right now for that game, $33. What's that tell you? $33. How far is Chestnut
Hill? Why am I buying
Hill?
any of my tickets anywhere else? Because those tickets are cheap.
If we left Saturday morning, how far is Chestnut Hill? I'm looking right now.
A drive? I'd say it's probably like 14 hours.
Good God, are you serious?
Isn't that far? My sister does it all the time. My sister's husband is from Boston. Well, Worcester. He's from Worcester, nearby.
Is Chestnut Hill a real place?
Yeah, I think so.
Because I typed it in and it's not.
It sounds like the name of a horse track.
Well, I'm typing it in. It's not showing. Oh, it's in Mass. Okay, I got it. You're right. It's 14 hours. That's a long way. Yeah, I wouldn't go up there. No.
Is that what's the longest you've ever driven for a football game?
Oh, for a football game?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've driven to Dallas many times, but not for a football game.
I've driven to Michigan twice.
That's a long way. Oh, I guess Ohio State Saturday is the longest.
Yeah, well.
What about South Carolina plus 9.5, baby?
Ooh.
What about the Gamecocks? Are you kidding me? Let's do it. Let's go out on a limb here at LSU.
Well, we're going to have a chance to talk about it.
Let's do it. Let's talk Jack Veltri. Big Gamecock news earlier today with a guy entering the portal. Plus, we'll talk Gamecocks and LSU with Jack Veltri of Gamecock Central next. Every single Tuesday at this time, we talk Gamecocks with Jack Veltri of Gamecock Central. If you haven't done so, make sure you go give Jack a follow, check out his work, retweet his stuff, and let him know you heard him right here on The Fan Upstate. Jack, we're going to get into a lot in this interview, especially with the Gamecocks making the trip to Baton Rouge on Saturday, but let's start with the Gamecocks and their losses. Losing a tight end from the program, Michael Smith, has left the Gamecocks football team with the intentions to redshirt and later enter the transfer portal. He confirmed on Tuesday. What does not only this mean for the Gamecocks, but your reaction to this story, Jack?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because, Michael is a very, good tight end. I mean, a 4-star kid coming out of high school from Savannah. And he had some moments last year. He had a couple big catches, had a touchdown, I believe, against Missouri, and had some nice moments. But so far this year, only 2 catches all season. Hasn't probably played as much as, him or anyone thought he would initially. And, I don't know if that's the reason. But, again, played in 4 games. Shane Beamer notably does not let players stick around and redshirt through the end of the year, or hit the portal at the end of the year after playing in 4 games already. So that's something that we saw with Bengali Kamara last year, who transferred in, a linebacker, and now we're seeing it again with Michael Smith. And it's a bit of a loss, but at the end of the day, he wasn't your most productive tight end so far this year, and I think you'll be okay moving forward.
Find him on Twitter at Jack T. Veltri, Veltri. Jack, I asked one of our contemporaries and Grayson Mann over at TigerNet a few weeks ago if Clemson was heading into the most needed bye week in college football. I turned this around on you and asked if you think South Carolina was kind of hit with an unfortunate bye after absolutely routing Kentucky. How needed was that bye, and do you think it might be a tiny bit of a momentum killer going into this LSU game?
Yeah, yes and no. I think it came at a good time because Carolina, obviously has this grueling 5-game stretch coming up, and I think you need a little bit of rest to recover, get the injuries settled and stuff, and also kind of, go over what went wrong in the first few games of the season. Look, Kentucky was a much better performance, but the end of the day, it was just one game, and it was against, what many consider to be one of the worst teams in the SEC, if not the worst team in the conference. But I think for South Carolina, it did come at a good time. Would you have liked to play the following week right away? Absolutely. But we know what the schedule is, and we know how tough it's going to be over these next few weeks. Hopefully the guys have been getting healthy. Hopefully they've had more time to kind of look back at what hasn't gone well the past few weeks and what has gone well to try and put together the best product on the field come Saturday.
Jack, the follow-up to my first question, going back to Michael Smith leaving the program, no interest from Lamont Paris? I mean, I thought tight ends switched to basketball. Is that not right?
Yeah, we haven't not seen that here in a little bit, I don't think. Not everyone can be wasn't it like Jimmy Graham at Miami or something?
And Clemson's Ian Shefflin, right?
That's right. Ian Shefflin, who could forget? So.
Jack, some people might push back on the question I'm about to ask you and say that it's unfair, but I think that it is fair comparing Lenoris Sellers and Garrett Nussmeier. They're same conference, both high-profile players, both looked at as possible first-round draft picks going into next season. Neither one of them really at this point of the season has like eye-popping stats so far, but the one that stands out to me is that Nussmeier has attempted 171 passes to Lenoris Sellers just 87, and that's surprising to me given that Sellers actually has a higher completion percentage than Garrett Nussmeier. Is it just
and
that
Garrett Riley?
And Garrett Riley too. Is it just that like planned, we're stubborn about running the football, or do you think that this team is still kind of testing and figuring out what they're good at?
I think they're kind of still figuring out what they're overall best at. And Shane Beamer was asked a lot today about the offense and kind of. I even asked him, like, what is this? What do you feel like the offensive identity is? And simply put, they need to run the football better. I think they need to be able to get that going to be able to you're not going to be always balanced on offense. That'll change game to game. And Shane felt that way when explaining it today, too. but getting the run game going is going to be huge. And part of that is continuing to see more production out of Lenore Sellers in the ground game. Obviously, against Kentucky, was really efficient in the ground game with nearly, when you take out the sacks, nearly 100 yards on offense on the ground. But I think the fact that he hasn't thrown the ball as much to the eye, it's probably not that surprising considering the quarterback that he can be as a dual threat. When you think of Garrett Nussmeier, I think you feel like he's much more of a pocket passer compared to Lenore's. I think they're two totally different quarterbacks in that respect, so it's not surprising. But I think we have seen South Carolina try to throw the ball more. I think it's just sometimes the play breaks down or the situation calls for something different to happen than what the initial play might be.
Jack, how have your thoughts on LSU changed from the preseason to watching them beat Clemson in the opener to now?
So I'm sorry, what was it again?
How have your thoughts on LSU changed just from like your perception of them preseason, then seeing them beat Clemson and what looks like now maybe not the most impressive win, and then the last couple of weeks a tough loss to Ole Miss. How have your thoughts changed on LSU?
I'm a little surprised with the way they played this year. I personally thought that they were going to be much better, and they still can be. I mean, you never know, man. I mean, this could be the weekend where it just really clicks for them. They are – I thought they were going to be better defensively this year, and they have been. I think that has certainly been the case. Offensively, I'm a little surprised. Like, I looked at Nussmeier's numbers the other day. I mean, guys, he has not thrown for over 300 yards in a game yet this season. Now, I know he's been playing some tough defenses and stuff, but this is Garrett Nussmeier we're talking about. This is the guy that even myself, I picked him to be first-team All-SEC in the preseason over Lenore Sellers. I thought he was going to be that good. Hasn't really lived up to that ability. He hasn't been bad. Hasn't been amazing like I thought he would be. So, I think LSU, the run game kind of is hit or miss. Wasn't good last week, and I know Caden Durham being down did not help. But, I think with LSU, they're good so far. I know they have the loss to Ole Miss, but I've expected them to be better, and they always could be. A lot of time left in the season, especially this weekend with South Carolina coming up. But yeah, definitely not living up to the expectations I think people had for them so far in the preseason.
Jack, what do you make of this story that John Mateer is pushing to make his return for Oklahoma against Texas and sort of the gamesmanship that we're seeing in the SEC football injury reports, a game that, we've seen Shane Beamer play a little bit this season already?
Yeah. Honestly, I'm not surprised that Mateer, I think it's a little bit soon for him to be coming back since this was supposed to be like a month-long injury. But again, if the surgery went well, if he's feeling good, I don't know what the rehab process looks like up there in Norman, but if he's moving along smoothly and stuff and he feels ready to go for this weekend, then by all means, go for it. But, honestly, either way, even if he wasn't playing this weekend, I figured he'd probably be ready to go for next week just because that's how things roll around here at South Carolina, where it's just that timing of Mateer being ready to play for South Carolina week. So, look, even if he doesn't play this weekend, he'll be probably ready to go for Carolina. That's just the expectation I have, and that's probably the way it should be, considering if you want to beat the best, you got to play against the best.
Jack Veltri, Gamecock Central, joining us right here on the Fan Upstate Tolos. If you have a question, if you're a Gamecock fan and have a question for Jack, you can send it in on the Hub City Spartanburgers text line, 844-326-3663. Jack, when you look at the matchups within the matchup, the games within the game on Saturday night, as you start kind of looking ahead to Saturday and trying to gather your thoughts on who you're going to pick and who you think's going to win and by how much, what matchup within the matchup intrigues you the most in Saturday's game with South Carolina and LSU?
Very good question. I think the big thing in this game is ultimately going to be, it's not so much a defense versus offense type of thing. I actually think it's simply just who's going to run the football better in this game. I think that matters a lot on Saturday, Cole, because if you're South Carolina and you can find a way to get this run game going, Shane has talked about it plenty of times. Like, if Carolina figures out how to get that run game moving the way they want to, not just Lenore's, but the running backs you brought in and having that room too, it's going to be different, I think, for this offense in the way they are able to they're able to finally be completely productive on offense. Same time, I think the same applies for LSU, where obviously they have Caden Durham, they have some running backs in that room that can be good, but obviously we just have not seen it so far this year consistently. So I think that's probably one of the bigger matchups this weekend. Is just on paper, these two running back rooms have kind of struggled this year. Which one's going to be better on Saturday, and how does that impact the way these offenses are either able to be one-dimensional or two-dimensional?
Most likely to turn it around in year 2, Jack. Bill Belichick or Paul Maneri?
Ooh, I'm going to be honest. We just spoke with Paul yesterday as South Carolina gets ready to start fall baseball practice. I'm going to say Paul Maneri, and I'll give a quick reason why. Number one, the whole Belichick thing out in not College Station, Chapel Hill has been an absolute disaster. I don't know if you guys saw it today, but that Hulu documentary with UNC just got canceled. So I can't imagine that's too good. I think that's going to be a real mess there. It does feel similar to what happened this year with the baseball program here at USC. But the main thing with Maneri is they brought in a lot of new players. I think this is a much more talented team on paper compared to what they had this past season. Maneri, I feel like, has kind of learned or accepted the fact that he was wrong about some things last year and trying to course correct a little bit. And so he's taking a different approach to how he's going to operate this fall. Some of the things that he, spoke about yesterday, just how he kind of underestimated, some of the leadership and whatnot on the team and how players would react with their attitudes and whatnot. So I think overall things are going to be better for the baseball program in year 2 compared to, who even knows if Bill's going to last another year out at UNC?
Jack, when you look at Saturday, man, I've talked to a few Gamecock fans who are friends of mine, and it seems to be, and tell me what your thoughts are on this, it seems to be like South Carolina, the fans are more concerned by what they can't do rather than being concerned and scared by what LSU can do. Do you see one significant part of this LSU team that just scares you? Or would you agree with a lot of the fans that they're not picking the Gamecocks because they're more worried about what they can't do?
That's an interesting question, Cole. I think the defense is probably what scares you the most. And Harold Perkins being back, that's definitely a big upgrade for them, having him back on defense this season. Look, it's going to be a challenge facing that defense. Blake Baker, like I said, does a really great job as the defensive coordinator there. Excuse me. But I think the main thing for South Carolina is, like I said before, can they establish the run in this game? And if they can, that's going to make such a big difference on Saturday, just because I think we're continuing to see Lenore's progress. And I really do think this could be a weekend where we saw what he did against this LSU team last year before getting hurt. I know it's at night. I know it's in Baton Rouge, different story. But big players show up in big moments. Maybe this is the weekend that happens.
Jack, I can't even say this facetiously with a straight face. Is South Carolina ducking Miami? Is that why we're seeing this change in the scheduling? But no, serious question. Obviously, we know the ACC is going to 9 games, and that kind of hampers things with South Carolina already having that out-of-conference matchup against Clemson. Do you still want to see them reschedule this matchup in the future, and do you believe there's any chance that happens?
I don't see it happen. Personally, I don't. I think the trend is already in place to where, and Shane's talked about it many times now, where if the other teams in this conference aren't going to, if they're only playing the 9 conference games and then the 1 Power 4 non-conference game against whoever it may be, and that's it, then there's no reason for South Carolina to go out there, play 9 conference games, Clemson, and a bonus Power 4 game. It just doesn't make much sense, because at the end of the day, teams are, we saw it happen with the college football playoff rankings last year. You are ultimately judged on, how many losses you have and what your record is. And if South Carolina, let's say hypothetically next year, they went 9-3 and one of those losses was to Miami, you're probably kicking yourself thinking, man, why did we continue with this game when we could have scheduled you already have Towson on the schedule next year, but you could have scheduled like a South Carolina State or a Charlotte or one of those random teams in your state and you're at 10-2, you're making the college football playoff next year. No questions asked. So I think from that standpoint, it just makes a lot of sense to keep it with Clemson, keep it with the 9 conference games, and the other 2 schedule whoever you want.
Is it the most logical thing in your mind to schedule bottom end group of 5 teams? You can't schedule multiple FCSs because they don't count towards eligibility. But now are you saying that they definitely need to schedule bottom end Power 5 or a group of 5?
Yeah, I would say so. Like, for instance, I think it's in 2 years they're scheduling. I think they got App State on the schedule. That's kind of the teams I would look at as like, okay, like you get your FCS team on there for sure with Towson coming in. Schedule more teams like that, because at the end of the day, you don't want to like not challenge yourself, but at the same time, you want to put a team out. You want to go up against a team that is going to challenge you a little bit, but you're going to win the game, like a Charlotte or a App State. One of those teams around here that, group of 5 that you can go out there, you're going to beat, but it's like, okay, like you have to play your best football to win these games.
I don't know, man. Scheduling App State, scheduling the Citadel hadn't gone well for South Carolina in the past.
Yeah, it's not always hasn't always been pretty, for sure.
Jack, the most important question we could ask you before we let you go: are you going to find time to get a little gumbo, a little jambalaya, something on the flavor this weekend down in Louisiana?
Man, I got to. We get in Friday. We're flying into freaking Mobile, which is going to be a pain because flights were expensive getting into New Orleans. Flying into Mobile, driving 3 hours from there to Baton Rouge. I don't know. I mean, look, I would hope so. I would hope I get some of the
Cafe Du Monde.
I don't know what Louisiana's got down there, but I will definitely be. I'm hoping to find some good food down there. So.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if Cafe Du Monde is only in New Orleans or if they have different locations or not. I don't know about that. But, Jack, hope you do. Baton Rouge should be a lot of fun. And get us some jambalaya. Have some for us if you do. As always, we appreciate you, man.
Nah, thanks so much, fellas. Always appreciate it.
Jack Veltri, Gamecock Central. Would you rather, if you had to choose, Diesel, between the two, you get 1 meal in New Orleans or 1 meal in Baton Rouge? Which one are you taking? I think that's tough, isn't it? Because you have Cafe Du Monde downtown New Orleans.
Well, New Orleans, it's a Creole versus Cajun a little bit. Man, that's a tough call.
That's tough.
That's a tough call. I'm very partial to New Orleans. I got a lot of family down in New Orleans.
Yeah,
go get a good po' boy.
Yeah, it'd be good. It's tough. It's a tough question.
You ever had a po' boy?
I have. Oh yeah,
Delicious.
Love them.
When we come back, Cole, let's do a little investigative work and try to figure out, just based on the audio, what is Mike McDaniel actually saying in this clip? We'll talk about it next. trying to decipher what Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel is saying. It's kind of like trying to listen to an excited toddler tell you something. Except he's not excited. He's sad. He's sad,
he used to be
Mike.
excited though.
He used to be excited. Now he's sad, Mike. And I know he's a sad toddler, but he still doesn't put his words together in a way that makes any sense. Let's try to make some sense and figure out what Mike McDaniel is saying here in this clip. This was after the loss to the Carolina Panthers. And, well, let's just play the audio, see if we can figure it out.
He was really frustrated at the, just like he's as I was, and we talked about the challenge ahead to get ready for the Chargers, and that was kind of the extent of it.
What? You cut that up?
No, that's
the real audio.
He was just frustrated as I was.
I have to hear that like six times. Can you play it one more time?
Yeah.
He was really frustrated at the just like he's as I was, and
that's not real.
We talked about the challenge ahead to get ready for the Chargers.
That's real audio.
Yeah, I'll play it for you one more time. See if we can figure out what he's saying.
He was really frustrated at the just like he's as I was, and we talked about the challenge ahead to get ready for the Chargers.
He was frustrated at the you know what I mean. Mike, this guy's getting fired. There's no way. There is no way, unless they beat the Chargers this weekend, that Mike McDaniel keeps his job.
And right? I don't think that's going to happen. I know the Chargers are banged up, pretty banged up, but I still think they'll figure out a way. They lost last week, the Commanders. I think they'll bounce back. So right now, what are they? The Miami Dolphins. Let's see here. When you talk about, but because by the way, I do agree that I think they lost their first three. They won against New York, who's 0-5. I mean, it was a 6-point win.
Big deal.
They have the Chargers, Browns. Oh, man. They might. Diesel, they might. Let's see here. Cleveland. New Orleans, New York. They play New York again. Here's the problem. You're right. He is going to get fired. Right now, here's the schedule remaining. Chargers, loss. Browns, probably a loss. Dylan Gabriel, QB1. Falcons, meh. Ravens, meh, because they're no good. Bills, loss. Commanders, loss. Saints, meh. Jets, meh. There's 4 winnable games there, Diesel. Steelers, Bengals, Bucks, Patriots. That's it. Yeah, there's a good chance they win 4 or 5 games this year, and they're lucky they beat the pitiful Jets. I think you're right. I think McDaniels is getting canned.
I had to ask Grok. This is the first time I've ever grokked.
Gronkowski?
No, not Gronk. Grok. I had to ask Grok what McDaniel was actually talking about in this clip. I said, hey, I need some context because I can't understand him. It says, in this clip from his October 6th press conference, that would be yesterday, Mike McDaniel describes a post-loss conversation with Dolphins owner Stephen Ross. They shared frustration over the team's 1-4 start and discussed the urgent challenge of preparing for the upcoming game against the Chargers. That's what Grok was able to get out of Mike.
He was really frustrated at the, just like he's as I was, and we talked about the challenge ahead to get ready for the Chargers. That was kind of the extent of it.
Fire his ass.
He looked so pathetic, man. I'll tell you what, you remember when he got hired, they were, first couple of years, Mike McDaniel was really bouncy, right? Everybody thought he was super smart. He was this nerd with all these. Look, that whole thing, that script has flipped. I mean, that guy, he looks as pitiful as a wet dog that just got out of a thunderstorm trying to get back in the house to dry off. Diesel, he looks down. He looks depressed. He can't get his words right.
I've Giving a lot of teams a hard time for that wave of hiring young head coaches.
Yeah.
Most of them have fallen by the wayside. Think about it. Cliff Kingsbury, Mike McDaniel. I mean, Sean McVay's still doing okay.
Won a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Outside of that, most of the young coaches, and I'm talking about those guys who are in their 30s and early 40s, they're not doing so well.
Corn Chip says, I speak fluent toddler, and I couldn't even get what he was saying. You're right, Corn Chip. Diesel, you and I in the very next segment are being tasked by the people who run the NFL draft. I know April is still a few months away. However, now that we are, you said it earlier, heading into week 6, is that right, of college football? 7, heading into week 7. We have seen some good quarterback play. We have seen some not so good quarterback play. We're in charge of ranking best to worst, top 10, top 5 best quarterbacks for the NFL draft, Tolos. We also need your help. We do that. And boy, where's Manning? Where's Klubnik? Where's all these quarterbacks that were preseason hyped? Top 3, where are they? We'll talk about it next. Cade Klubnik and Arch Manning, they're all winning the Heisman Trophy and going 1, 2, 3 in the draft, right? That's the question, Diesel. That's what we were told in the preseason. So we are now tasked, you and I and the Tolos, with getting a good old-fashioned mulligan and redoing this quarterback conversation. The people who head up the NFL draft, all the owners have asked you and I and the Tolos to give them a wish list, a quarterback wish list, right? Heading into April. I know it's just October, but April will be here before you know it. So, Cade Klubnik's team's 2 and 3 now, right? Cade Klubnik, Diesel 94th in QBR. So Cade Klubnik's stock has dropped. Arch Manning, 71. Sam Levitt, okay. Nico's been one good game. Drew Aller, CJ Carr from Notre Dame has been a little bit of a positive. So that's what we're doing in this very segment. If we have to ask the question of you Tolos at 844-326-3663, we want to hear from you. Who would you say are the top quarterbacks now that we have seen a month and a half of college football? Who do you think should get drafted and in what order? There have been some really good quarterbacks this season, Diesel. There have also been some pretty poor quarterback play. Welcome into Wire to Wire, hour number 3 of the show. He's Diesel. I'm Cole Bryson. Again, phone lines are open. Text line open as well. 844-FANFONE. Diesel, to start this conversation, I want to express how deeply saddened I am that Steve Angeli got hurt, because I believe if Steve Angeli were to have stayed healthy, we saw what happened to him against Clemson. By the way, going into that game, he was the nation's leading passer in terms of yardage. I believe Steve Angeli would have been a dark horse at the Heisman Trophy, and maybe Steve Angeli could finish the season as one of the nation's top quarterbacks.
Could have launched his way all the way up there into a first-round draft conversation.
Right. And unfortunately, we saw the injury. We know that's not going to happen. And now Steve Angeli's not that conversation. So who is in that conversation? Who do you like? Who has been elite? When you look at advanced metrics, you can look at QBR. You can look at, dual threat. You can look at rushing yards. Diesel, I'll throw a few at you, and these aren't who you expected. Elite metrics tell you, especially considering QBR, quarterback rating, Jaden Mayava. Is that how you say it, Mayava at Southern Cal? He's the QBR leader. He's had a fantastic season. Most efficiency models have him at the top of the country. We didn't talk about this guy preseason. Why not?
No.
Right? Did you talk about him? I didn't.
Once.
I
don't even know how to say his name.
That's what I'm saying. He has a QBR Diesel of 93.5.
Okay.
Think about that. Gunnar Stockton, QBR top 3, highly stable week to week. Taylon Green at Arkansas, dual threat, top 5 QBR. There's these guys. Baylor's quarterback Sawyer Robertson leads the country in passing yards with 2,000 passing yards. And I know Baylor's probably not going to be a national title contender, but the guys right now, Darian Mensah of Duke, who are at the top of the country, we just bombed this thing, man, when it comes to quarterbacks.
Even begs the question on some of the, dark horse guys that weren't even considered dark horses at the time. So what's the word for less attention than a dark horse? I'm thinking about a guy like Diego Pavia.
He's been good.
I'm thinking about a guy like Joey Aguilar.
Yeah.
I mean, Joey Aguilar was down. He was ready to go get a job. He was thinking about, what am I going to do for the rest of my life? And he might be playing his way into an NFL draft status.
A lot of these mainstay returning quarterbacks haven't been the leaders. A lot of these transfer guys have really been, playing up to elite level competition here. Sawyer Robertson Diesel of Baylor leads the country with 2,058 passing yards, a 63.7 completion percentage, a QBR right now a quarterback rating of 155.5. You are talking about above 60% completion ratings, 19 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. Him, Darian Mensah, C.J. Bailey at North Carolina State, Luke Altmaier at Illinois.
We haven't even mentioned Trinidad Chambliss, which doesn't even sound like a real name. That sounds like one of those names from the Key and Peele sketch.
What? Say that again. That
Trinidad
name?
Chambliss.
I like that name.
Trinidad Chambliss was a Division II quarterback last year.
Ole Miss,
he is
right?
now, Ole Miss. He is now number 3 in the country in QBR. Think about that. That's crazy.
I love the name. And again, were we talking about him preseason? No, we weren't talking about any of these guys. I mean, it is unbelievable right now. The Jaden, here's the last name spelled out, Diesel, Maiava.
I think it's Maiava.
Maiava?
I think it's Maiava.
Jaden Maiava of Southern Cal has a total QBR of 93.4. He's thrown for 1,500 yards, 80 rushing yards, 15 total touchdowns. He was let down by his defense against Illinois on Saturday, but you're talking about the nation's best quarterback in QBR. He is one of only 2 to rank in the top 20 in both completion rate at 70.5% and yards per completion, 16.2 yards per completion. Think about that. Now, Illinois on Saturday was his worst game of the season, but he still threw for 365 yards and a QBR of 85.5. So Jaden Maiava, this guy was not talked about. This guy was not in the conversation. The Phil Steele magazine's preseason, we were talking about Arch Manning, Kate Klubnik, Sam Levitt, Drew Aller. Where are those guys now?
So the question becomes, can guys like that, who the general college football world would look at as kind of a flash in the pan, the guys whose names we were not putting on all the preseason lists, are they doing enough so far, assuming they can continue at a relative similar pace for the rest of the season? Are we now talking about these as high-level draftable quarterbacks?
That's a good question.
The NFL, you always get, there's always going to be at least 3 in the first round, maybe 5, maybe 6. I mean, unless there's a crazy run, but there's nothing this year that tells me there's going to be a crazy run. And the guys that we were all looking at as surefire 1, 2, 3 off the board, 3 quarterbacks, it's going to be Nussmeier, it's going to be Klubnik, it's going to be Aller. Those guys are nowhere to be seen.
Nowhere to be found. And you know what? To answer your question, I would love if the NFL said, you know what? We're going to do it. We're going to draft Jaden Maiava. We're going to go take Trinidad Chambliss, Fernando Mendoza out of Indiana, who ranks 4th in total QBR, Dante Moore at Oregon. We hadn't talked about him. He's been fantastic this year.
You're trying to tell me that a guy like Diego Pavia wouldn't be one hell of a backup in Baltimore?
Might as well. Right now they'd probably start. Right. I mean, God, they're 1 and 4.
Yeah. I mean, I always question, and I know I've done it on the show before, why do we not have teams in the NFL drafting young quarterbacks or trading for young quarterbacks that relatively match the skill set of the starter you already have on roster?
Yeah, keep the offense the same.
If Lamar Jackson can do what he does, or, I mean, you could say in Kansas City, though he wouldn't play anytime soon, would you not say that Diego Pavia has a very similar skill set to what we've seen from Patrick Mahomes as a pro?
In the sense of him crying and not being able to back up his talk, yes.
No, I'm talking about creating out of nowhere.
Gotcha. I thought you were talking about him crying after the game Saturday, after all the ish he talked all week long, and then crying because he got an argument with some fan. Oh, come on. And no, you're right, though. You're right. What about Ty Simpson? We haven't even talked about Ty Simpson. Yeah. And that guy's had a remarkable season. Alabama quarterback, right? He's been in college football all these years. Yeah. He's been fantastic. On the Hub City Spartanburgers text line, 844-326-3663. Where do we start here? Bubba Brooks says, the lack of improvement from Vizina and the struggles from Klubnik, is that a sign of Riley's lack of ability to grow and improve as quarterbacks? Maybe so. Maybe. Bubba Brooks, I don't think there's the development there, to your point. I would agree with you. Kane's Transplant says, I have to say Carson Beck has looked pretty good. And again, we hadn't thrown his name out there this second.
But think about it. Carson Beck, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, we're saying this guy is going to be a surefire top 5 pick.
Yep.
And then his star falls, and then he goes to Miami, and he's elite all over again. Maybe that's on us for overweighting the bad season.
Maybe so.
Bad season. And maybe are we overweighting Cade Klubnik's bad seasons? He's had several bad seasons.
Let me see here. I wanted to read. Kane's transplant also said he might not be prototypical for NFL, but he looks good. So parking on Carson Beck for a second. I don't know, Diesel. I feel today, and I'm not a quarterback guru, but here's where I am. On the 7th day of October, I am settling in that Carson Beck might be a pretty good NFL quarterback.
6'4", 220 is not prototypical?
Is he sick? I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know what Kane's transplant means by prototypical NFL quarterback, but I'm settling in on the fact that I think he might be. I think he might be a guy. I don't want to compare him to Daniel Jones out of Duke because Daniel had a rough start in New York, but now he's balling in Indy. I think he has similar skill sets to a Daniel Jones. Obviously, he might not be Daniel Jones's height or whatever. My point being, I don't know, man. You look at this, Diesel. Carson Beck has seen a lot of football. And Carson Beck has seen a lot of high-level football. I'm not saying that immediately translates over to the NFL, but here I am today thinking maybe Carson Beck's maybe
I'd take a guy that had some struggles in college
Yep.
and show that he could bounce back from those struggles and have a great season in the right situation.
And my point being to what you just, maybe Carson Beck isn't a Matthew Stafford. Maybe he's not a gunslinger Josh Allen, but maybe he's not a bad pick either. What I mean is I'm pretty much, Diesel, settling in that I think Carson Beck's a safe pick. I think he's a pretty safe pick right now in the NFL.
I'm looking at Carson Beck's annual stats here. I'm looking at 2024 compared to 2023, 2 full seasons as a starter at Georgia. Yeah, his yards dropped off by about 500 from 23 to 24, but his touchdowns went up. His interceptions also went up. So he might have been a little careless with the football. He took a lot of sacks. Our sacks, and I haven't gone back and watched all of those Georgia games from last year. Were those sacks on Carson? Making bad decisions, holding on to the football, not getting rid of it, running out of the pocket, etc., or were those sacks on the offensive line for not protecting him as well as they should?
Yeah, he has a total QBR of 81.9 this season. And you know, I think now you're looking at the number 2 team in Miami. He's in the Heisman conversation. Going into last weekend, Diesel, he had a 73% completion rate, which was 9th among quarterbacks. But he's 68th nationally in yards per completion at 11.9. He's 95th in interception rate at 2.7. He provides no run threat whatsoever, 0. So that
sounds like the NFL to me.
It does. The defense has been more responsible, in my opinion, for Miami's start than Carson Beck has. I think Carson Beck's been really good, but I have been more I've been so impressed with the transfer guys on defense that have made a big impact in Miami's start in catapulting them to the number 2 team in the country. So I think Carson Beck's a safe pick. I just don't know ultimately that he's going to be a guy that NFL guys salivate over. Bo Prabula, Missouri. Those guys are undefeated right now, Diesel. Bo Prabula's a good quarterback. Total QBR, 77.6. You mentioned Joey Aguilar. What if this year, Diesel, what if we're learning this year that it's not top heavy like we thought it was going to be with Cade, Drew, and Arch? What if it's, hey, there might be 10 good quarterbacks that could be solid NFL starters?
Are you seeing this year as another offensive line, receiver, kind of lineman heavy type of first and
maybe
second
early?
round?
Yeah, maybe early. But go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, out of these top 20 or so quarterbacks, based on whatever metrics you want to choose, whether it's QBR, pass yards per play, whatever it may be, give me 3 that are first round locks. First round locks.
I think Dante Moore of Oregon goes first round. He's had an 83 QBR this season. That guy's been, and he can move a little bit better than Carson Beck, right? Locks.
Yeah, first round locks.
I think if Ty Simpson continues to play at the level he's playing, I think you could see Ty Simpson go as a first round lock, maybe late.
I'll even let you go free for him. If you think there's more than 3 first round quarterbacks in this group, tell me.
I'm interested come January and February to see what NFL Pro Scouts grade is on Notre Dame's CJ Carr. He has an excellent QBR. Notre Dame's lost 2 games, but CJ Carr is a really good quarterback. So I would probably, Diesel, put CJ Carr on that bubble, a first round. I'd probably I'll throw this one. I'd put Jalen Daniels on that bubble. If I don't know. Here's where I am. I think there are some solid, going back to Carson Beck, the word I used, I think there are some safe quarterback picks. I don't know right now today that pro scouts are absolutely salivating, Diesel, over a lot of these guys, but you're going to have some skill positions go ahead. But man, I don't know. I still think Lenoris is going to be in the conversation bubble-ish.
Are we? Yeah, I mean, anything could change. There's still a lot of season to go, and the hype. Once that hype train gets rolling on certain guys, it's impossible to slow it down. If the right pundit puts out the right tweet at the right time, it can get the ball rolling on a guy that makes you say, huh? Why that guy? I still think Garrett Nussmeier is a first-round
I do, too.
I think
but Diesel, what if he loses Saturday night? Like the Carolina. Like what if he just does he transition to the bubble? Like I'm with you. I think he's a first.
But are there 32 other guys that you're saying are going ahead of him?
Probably not. I would probably agree with you.
Especially with as many old quarterbacks as there are in the NFL. You're telling me those teams are not going to go a little bit younger? I mean, I wouldn't be shocked to see Gunnar Stockton be a first rounder. I wouldn't be shocked to see Carson Beck as a first rounder. I mean, there's all the time you see guys who have a great name and have pedigree and have this aura around them, even if they don't necessarily deserve it, they still get it and they still get launched up the list and they still get taken early because the teams below them are afraid, or they're afraid that the team below them is going to take them.
Yeah.
And they're going to miss out.
By the way, we got to get to the text line. CJ Carr is only 20, redshirt freshman. So my apologies there, Leprechaun of Lyman. Texter says, this is Adam from Spartanburg. He says, well, Sellers putting together a less than stellar season, so you think he'll stick around for next year? I don't know right now. I still think he's going to be in that conversation.
It depends on what he thinks he'll have back next year at wide receiver, at running back. Does he think that what he's going to have returning around him, the weapons, are going to be enough to help catapult him into a top 5 pick? I think that's the bar right there. Am I a top 5 pick right now?
Right now he's not.
No.
Spartanburg J says,
right now being the end of the season.
Yeah. Spartanburg J says, best quarterback I've seen, quarterback at Georgia Tech. Not the best stats, but the ball looks different coming out of him. And he does. But I will say this, as we land this plane, I think Dante Moore today would go. If the draft were today, I think Dante Moore of Oregon would go number 1.
Interesting.
I like that guy, man. He's been impressive. And here's the reality. To answer your question a minute ago, Diesel, you're still going to have the Reuben Bain Juniors, the Peter Woods, the TJ Parkers. You're going to have a run on those guys early.
Is Jeremiah Smith going to be old enough to go into the draft?
Jeremiah Smith.
Is he a true sophomore? He's a true sophomore.
He's a true sophomore.
Okay.
He is a true sophomore. So my point being, to answer your earlier question about
might be the number 1 overall pick next year.
It could be. And Ryan Williams.
He's a true sophomore.
Right? Ryan Williams with Alabama. Same thing there. So here's what I look at. To land it and answer your question, you're going to have teams, Diesel, with needs, right? You're going to have Cincinnati with a need of an edge rusher. Maybe go after a guy like Reuben Bain Jr. out of Cincinnati. Out of Reuben Bain. Where's he from? Off the top of my head, I forget. Miami. You're going to have Peter Woods go early. You're going to have Kendrick Falk of Auburn go early. you're going to have T.J. Parker. Even though T.J. Parker and Peter Woods haven't had stellar senior seasons or stellar years in 2025, correcting myself there, they're still going to go early. Then you might have a wild card like a Indiana quarterback, Fernando Mendoza. But I think it's all about team needs, right? A team needs a running back. Do they go Jeremiah Love at Notre Dame, top 10? A team needs a receiver, right? What if we're really surprised to see that as many quarterbacks go not as many quarterbacks go as we thought in the first round? What if I told you that in April, come the first round, not as many quarterbacks go in the first round, but maybe there's a big run, Diesel, second round, third round. Ty Simpson, I think Ty Simpson still goes first round to answer your lock question. This guy's playing at an elite level, Diesel. He's seen a lot of college football. Imagine Ty Simpson replacing Matthew Stafford in L.A. for the Rams, you know? I mean, there's a lot of football that's been played by that guy. So, John Mateer, I don't know. John Mateer, we haven't talked about John Mateer.
How does he respond to the hand surgery, right?
I don't know. I'm just saying there could be a lot more safe quarterback picks instead of us seeing the top-heavy quarterbacks that we once thought. I'll tell you what, though, I love that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
When we come back, Cole, there are 10 FBS playing schools in the Carolinas. I rank them 1 through 10. Hey, we actually had some wins this week, so it makes it a little harder to rank some of these schools. I'll tell you what I think. Cole's going to tell me where I'm wrong, and you could do the same as well at 844-FAN-PHONE. That's next. I can't get into the Carolinas top 10 without helping out RJ. RJ texts in and says, can I get an honorable mention? Not only honorable mention, they get the seat of honor. They get the first mention here. Presbyterian College, the only undefeated team in South Carolina. How about the PC Blue Hose, man?
And what's even wilder about that is Presbyterian College did away with athletic scholarships.
So you're telling me when they're playing for the love of the game, they play harder and it makes them better?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I will say I know they can. Get academic scholarships, but I don't know. They cannot get athletics. So yes, to answer your question, RJ, I'm glad you brought that up. That's the list. As pathetic PC. As this year's been. Next segment, right?
Honestly, I would put PC ahead of. This is an FBS top 10 because there are 10 teams in the Carolinas in FBS, but I would take PC 7 out of 10 times against the Charlotte 49ers.
Oh, yeah, you probably would. I mean, they're playing good, man. They're playing good. It's wild to see, but, it also might be how bad everybody else in the Carolinas are right now.
So we didn't do it last week, or did you do it last week?
No, I don't do your segment. You have to.
Okay,
it's your list. I don't want to mess it up. I'll mess it up.
That's fine. Well, from the week, I guess it'll be week 4 to week 6 rankings. Just to give you a reminder of where we were in week 4, I had 10 down to 1, Charlotte, UNC, App State, Coastal, Clemson, East Carolina, Wake Forest, South Carolina, NC State, and Duke as the best team in the Carolinas last week. Now let's look, Cole, at this week. After week 6 games, and you tell me if I'm wrong here, my number 10 team in the Carolinas, and they are just to what Mark Schlereth just said in that promo, bereft of talent at UNC Charlotte. They are 1-4, and they are awful, and they are my number 10 team in the Carolinas.
Worst team.
Yep.
Worse than Clemson.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding, Clemson fans. Please. No, you're right. It's pathetic. And again, we've talked about it before. I don't understand how they're so bad being in this area, hotbed of recruiting. I mean, Mecklenburg County, Diesel for high school recruiting is insane.
They don't recruit high school anymore.
Well, maybe Charlotte should figure out that, whatever they're doing is not working. You're right on that. They're terrible.
This is where it gets hard, Cole. The 8-9 slot here. I've got the UNC Tar Heels as the 9th best team.
Oh my God.
The second worst. And I've got Coastal Carolina at number 8. Now, if we're parsing words between Coastal and UNC, Coastal got blown out at Virginia. That turned out to be a pretty good Virginia team. They beat Charleston Southern 13-0. They got blown out at home to East Carolina. They won 38-20 over South Alabama, and then they got blown out on the road at Old Dominion, who is proving to be a really good football team. But if you had to put on a neutral field, let's say they played in Bank of America Stadium this Saturday, Coastal Carolina versus North Carolina, who you got in a head-to-head matchup?
I'd say Coastal's offense has gotten better. Coastal's offense was putrid at the beginning of the season. And they're inconsistent. They're way too inconsistent. That's rough. North Carolina. I thought you were going to ask me if you put Charlotte, North Carolina. I guess North Carolina
already beat Charlotte.
They did beat them.
Yeah, they beat
That's
them.
their one win.
That's their one.
That's their. I forget.
No, UNC has 2 wins. I think they beat an FCS team.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So you're right. They already beat Charlotte. If you put North Carolina and Coastal, maybe North Carolina wins on a walk-off field goal, 3-0. 3-0 final score. Right. That is tough. That was a tough job you had there on 8, 9, and 10.
7 on my list, and they haven't moved up much. I've got App State. App State needed a goal line stand to beat a now winless Oregon State. It was an exciting game. I was there. I had a great time.
Sure.
However, I just don't think they're a very good football team right now. They've started 2 different quarterbacks, and they've played an extra quarterback. So they played 3 different QBs this year. And that wasn't like garbage time. You're up 40 points, and you put in the freshman.
Are they doing
backup.
that for funsies? What's the reason there?
So A.J. Swan, quarterback who transferred in from LSU, and I think he was at Vandy before that. He got hurt, and they went to J.J. Cole, who transferred in from Iowa State. And A.J. Swan won the job going into week 1, and then he got himself hurt.
Yeah.
So J.J. Cole is now the guy.
No, I don't have a huge issue there. Depending on who you have above them is what I'll say.
I got
so
Wake Forest at 6.
Okay.
I think Wake Forest neutral site beats App State.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good game though. I think I've watched Wake Forest one time on TV. I don't know why.
They're not blowing up my shorts off.
They're not. Robbie Ashford's not impressing me. Their defense is bad. The bottom tier of the ACC is really bad. I'll tell you where I got wrong. I thought teams like Stanford and Cal would be much worse than Wake Forest, but they're not. They're better. I don't know, man. You have App State 7,
Wake Forest
6. Is that right?
I got Wake Forest at 6.
Yeah. So far, I don't have a huge problem with your list.
Number 5, I got the Clemson Tigers. I am not convinced after beating up on UNC and Bill Belichick. I mean, that's borderline elder abuse to do to Bill Belichick what they did. I got to see it more than once to give Clemson any credit.
Yeah, and my thing is, not only do I need to see it more than once, I want to, they look good in the first quarter, but I would like to have seen a little more consistency on Saturday. I watched that game on my phone on the drive up to Columbus, and man, they looked really good in the first quarter. After the first quarter, they called some dogs off. I get it, but they didn't really consistently just, you and I last year were at Clemson App State where they just full throttle blew them out. I thought it would be more like that. Clemson at 5. Okay, let me see. Before I tell you you're wrong, let me see who you have at 4.
I've got East Carolina at 4.
Yeah, I would say Clemson beats ECU on a neutral field.
Remember, their quarterback, East Carolina's quarterback, is the number 12 quarterback in college football right now when it comes to yards per game.
Yeah.
Or total yards, excuse me.
Pretty good quarterback.
I mean, neutral site, I think maybe Clemson wins 7 out of those 10 games right now. Again, I know they're better. I know on paper they're a much better team, but I'd have to see it. I'd have to see it to believe it. So I've got Clemson at 5, East Carolina.
Let me ask you this
4.
real quick. I can pull it up. Does ECU have any impressive wins? I'm pulling it up right now.
Off the top of my head, I'd have to go find it.
So ECU has beat in 2025. You mentioned the quarterback play. Quarterback play's been good. They lost to NC State. They beat Campbell. They beat Coastal. And they beat Army. They lost to BYU and NC State. So
BYU's a good team.
Yeah,
7-point loss in week 1 on the road at NC State.
Yeah, I would swap I would swap Clemson and ECU.
That's fair. I mean, I just have to see it.
Yeah.
I have to see it more than once. Yeah. I've got NC State as my number 3 team. They're 4-2 on the season. South Carolina is my number 2 team at 3-2. They looked real good against Kentucky, and that means I can't believe I'm saying it again. My best team in the Carolinas FBS football is Duke. 4-2, Duke Blue Devils.
So I like Duke's quarterback a lot. I really do. I think they've got a really good quarterback. I would probably change it, though, and go South Carolina 1, Clemson 2.
Don't you need to see it from South Carolina more than once? That performance?
Yeah, I just think their defense. I think what I've seen from their defense is enough for me. I think what I've seen from South Carolina's defense thus far is enough to have them 1. I think they have a really good defense. So I'd go Gamecocks 1. I don't hate Duke. I mean, Duke's let's see. Let's see on Duke.
Is South Carolina's defense good enough to slow down a Duke team?
Yeah.
That has consistently put up high 30s and 40s. Could they slow that offense? Do you think they could slow that offense down to roughly 24 points to have a chance to beat them?
So to answer your question, let me look and see who Duke's beat. So right now, Duke's beat Elon. They lost to a good Illinois team, by the way, top 25 Illinois.
Blown out.
Lost to Tulane. They beat NC State, scored 45 on NC State. They blew out Steve Angeli-less Syracuse, right? They beat Cal.
Cal's pretty good. 4-2.
Cal's better than I thought they would be.
Yeah.
So I think you go back and look at South Carolina against Kyron Drones at Virginia Tech in that opener in Atlanta. I think South Carolina's defense would make enough plays to where I feel confident they would beat Duke. Yeah, right now it might be an interesting game.
Yeah.
I'd go. The only changes I'd go South Carolina 1. I don't want to disrespect Duke because they've had a good year.
So I go Duke 2?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. And
I
maybe,
got South Carolina 2 on my list. I think they're pretty even, and it's fluid. It could change.
Yeah, I really do. I don't want to disrespect the Blue Devils. I would probably go Gamecocks 1, Duke 2, Clemson 3, ECU 4. Madcraft must have just joined in late. He says PC is 5-0, easily the best ball club in South Carolina for certain. And you're right. We talked about that. RJ brought it up a minute ago. Madcraft, they are, but they're not. Diesel's doing FBS, right?
Correct. FBS only.
So, yeah, I mean, PC's up there. They get respect.
So,
not a terrible list.
Here's a big question for you.
Yeah.
Manny Diaz. If he matches what he put up last year, which was 9 wins, lost in the Gator Bowl, by the way. If Manny Diaz achieves 9 wins again, is he still at Duke in 2026? He was 21-15 at Miami. Not bad.
No.
Not great, but
18
not bad.
wins in 2 seasons at Duke's pretty good. If he were to go 9 wins again, that'd be 18 in 2 years.
That turns Duke into one of those springboard kind of jobs. If Elko goes to A&M and Diaz goes to, oh my God, could you imagine if Manny Diaz was hired at Florida? It won't happen. Won't happen. Just pretend for a second.
What if Manny Diaz went to Arkansas? Or was Arkansas going to keep their interim?
And Manny Diaz has spent time in the SEC. He spent time at Mississippi State, time at Texas. He was at Louisiana Tech.
Yeah.
He's been in that area before. So it's not unheard of for him to maybe make a move like that.
That's an interesting thought. I would, if he goes, if he wins 9 games, there's going to be,
people are going to be calling.
And I think he might be on some people's short list.
Maybe it's a little early. Maybe you need 1 more year out of Manny Diaz, considering the Miami stint.
Wasn't he at Penn State too?
He did spend some time at Penn State. Yeah,
but
he was not a head coach.
Right. He's been
he's a DC.
He's been in a few different stops. You mentioned University of Miami. Yeah, I think there could be. I don't know if he's ready for the Florida job.
No,
but I do believe there. I mean, like, you tell me you wouldn't. Here's what's I'm blanking on all Arkansas's interim football coach.
Petrino. Bobby.
Well, right now, if you're the powers that be, are you content that Bobby Petrino is a better coach than Manny Diaz? If you could go get Manny Diaz,
you've got your experience with Bobby Petrino. He's already making moves and firing
moves,
a lot of coordinators,
and that tells me that he's staying. That tells me Bobby Petrino is staying.
I saw somebody refer to it as a coup. He has cooed his way back.
That's what I'm saying.
Into the head coaching job at Arkansas.
It don't look like he's the interim right now. Interims don't make those kind of decisions. They just don't.
Texter says, Cole, Gamecock fan here. Did you watch the Vandy game? What defense?
I watched the very last game. You're as good as your last game, Texter. I watched South Carolina play a really good game defensively in the last game they played against Kentucky. And it'd be Kentucky, I know, but I'm going off of what I saw recently. I think their defense is
you got a lot of recency bias here.
I do, and I think their defense is good. I really do. RJ says last Saturday, Tim Beck of Coastal was asked, "Where do you go from here after the Old Dominion loss?" His first words were, "I don't know." RJ says, "Yikes." They're are they off of the Tim Beck honey? Was there ever a Tim Beck honeymoon?
I think
following Jamie Chat.
I think they liked his personality. I mean,
being a Coastal, he was a Coastal guy, right?
He was an NC State guy. Tim Beck was an NC State guy, but I think he was also. I think he was the coordinator at Coastal for a year or two, DC, before Chadwell took off.
Ugh. Yeah, I think that might be. That might be.
South Carolina gave up 31 to Vandy. They gave up 29 on the road at Missouri.
Coastal will be looking for a coach soon, won't they?
I hope. I love instability at Coastal Carolina. That's just me. So.
Ooh, that'll be interesting if that were to happen. I have speaking of interesting, a fascinating piece of audio. Diesel, you've heard Brent Musburger. You're looking live. You've heard that. We've all heard that. Do you know the reason behind that?
No.
Do you know the story behind that? I didn't either until today. And this piece of audio is crazy. There's a story, and guess what? ties to money. I'll have that audio for you next. This audio just blew my socks off earlier today, Diesel. You and I, we all know Brent Musburger. We all love Miss Brent Musburger. You're looking live, right? We never knew.
Yeah, good taste in women, too.
They did. That was so funny. We never knew what the You're Looking Live meant. We didn't know there was a meaning behind You're Looking Live. Well, guess what? There is, and it's fascinating. Doesn't everything always tie back to money? Here's Brent in a recent interview and explains where this came from with You're Looking Live. Maybe. It's thinking about
Brent,
it.
you there?
You are looking live, okay? And listen, it was gambling that promoted the phrase. It was, my original director was Bob Fishman. And at a meeting, year 3 maybe, he said, Brent, my father and my father's friend like to bet over-unders. And they really want to know what the weather is in November. And I laughed. I said, we don't have enough time to do a weather report. But I said, what would you say about a live picture? I said, we've got all the inputs from the games coming into the studio. I said, I think it was Chicago we used it first week. And weather was pretty foul. You are looking live at Soldier Field in Chicago, where the Bears are preparing to play the Green Bay Packers. Whatever. The weather forecast is not good. So that was about the extent of it.
Yeah.
Next week at the meeting, Fish at Brent, that was great. My father loved it, okay? They bet the under. There weren't many points split. I said, well, okay. So then we devised a system that you could go from stadium to stadium. I always insisted, though. I said, Bob, listen, no tapes. I said, we're going to do this. Let's be honest with everybody that it was a live shot, and we did. If I would say, and I did several times, say, you are looking at Cowboy Stadium, something like it wasn't live. I was pretty careful about that.
So, in case you did not know, you now know that the producer of Brent Musburger's Productions, dad and his friend were interested in gambling over-unders.
Degenerates.
That's right. And they wanted to know the weather, but they didn't have time for a weather report. So Musburger said, hey, let's just show a live shot, and I'll say you're looking live. And it just so happened to show the weather. Are you kidding me?
Does that mean, obviously back then you didn't have a cell phone. You couldn't check the weather anywhere in the world anytime you wanted to, right? I wonder, was there like when you were a kid, did you have time and temperature? Would you call up a phone number for time and temp?
No, I don't remember doing that.
When I was a kid, you could call, it was a Spectrum, like Charter Spectrum phone number. You could call and get local time and temp weather in your town. And it was free. So I don't know why. It's one of those weird things that I did as a kid. It's not the only weird thing I did as a kid, but it was one of those kind of pointless things. Why did I call time and temp? Does anybody else remember this? Any of you Tolos remember calling Charter time and temp?
Wow.
But could you not do that could you not get the phone number for Dallas, Texas time and temp and call it and get the gambling information that way? Because would these people see Brent's live shot and immediately call their bookies and make a bet?
Hey, yeah. Just I want the
weather's beautiful. I'll take the over.
Right. That is insane to me. Like the fact that Brent Musburger all these years had this You're Looking Live, and we thought it was just a cool little saying, a cool little catchphrase. But Diesel, he was using it to influence the gamblers who were going over or under.
It was a built-in crummy gambling.
That is insane to me. I love it. I think it's awful all at the same time. Brent
Texter says Brent was looking live at Greg McElroy's girlfriend. That's for sure.
That's true. He was. He was, man.
Tolos, when we come back, we bring you what Dabo had to say in his weekly press conference. We play a little bit of it. We react. We play a little bit. We react. Dabo said next. News, Cole. I want you to shake loose some of that Jerry Jones money that I know you have in your bank account.
Yeah.
The Westin Poinsett Hotel in downtown Greenville is up for sale.
Say that again.
The Westin Poinsett Hotel
Uh-huh.
in downtown Greenville is up for sale. I know you got that cash.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You got so much money.
Wow.
This is just it's just interesting local news here. It's posted up on foxcarolina.com if you want to read the whole story.
Are you interested? If you don't show up to work tomorrow,
I got to see what the cost is.
Okay.
Let me see if there's a dollar sign. Unfortunately, no. There's no value that has been assigned to the property yet.
Okay.
But it is an historic building in downtown Greenville, and I've been into the lobby. I've never been into a room at the Westin Poinsett.
Yeah.
I can't afford a room at the Westin
How about
Poinsett,
that?
but they did film part of the movie Leatherheads there. Did you ever watch the movie
Oh, yeah.
Leatherheads? Great
Filmed
movie.
part of it in Bowling Springs as well.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
How about what a little Dabo? Oh, by the way, Diesel Dabo was in his pink today for October.
Oh, good for him.
Breast Cancer Awareness Month, right? So just so you know, Tolo's listening. You can't see Dabo, but you can hear him. But envision Dabo
in pink,
in front of the purple, orange.
Hot pink, right?
That's right. Yeah,
in your face pink.
No, it's pretty. It's pretty
pink.
It's pretty pink. What Dabo say? Are we going to put an over/under on the opening statement here before we listen and react?
Dewey said, if Cole was a weatherman, he could afford the hotel.
God, Dewey. You're terrible. Terrible, Dewey.
What are we over? Sorry, I got distracted. What are we over-undering?
Before I play the opening statement, are we going to put an over/under on the length of Dabo's opening statement?
7 minutes.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. I'd say
over/under 7.
I'd say just under. By the way, Rob Jones texted in. He said, after a recent trip there and even after the UNC game, I still maintain Dabo's restaurant is better than his football team.
Ooh.
God, Rob, taking shots. His restaurant must have been pretty good.
They sell wings at Dabo's restaurant. Would that be one of those things that he say, no chicken?
No, I
chicken
think it's like a game day. It's walk-ons. Is that right? I would most certainly say they do. So, nonetheless, what did Dabo Sweeney say today? Well, we'll find out. Here's Dabo.
What are the feelings associated with going back there?
Yeah, I just, I think, when was that, 08?
And by the way, we're getting right into the questions
I went
today.
up there, I don't know, maybe once as an assistant, maybe. Was that the first time we went up there? And that was the first time I'd been to Boston. I didn't know, Boston was like some mythical place off in another, hemisphere. I didn't know. I'd just never been up there. So it was kind of cool the first time I went up there as an assistant, and that was a neat trip and experience. But obviously going up there in 08, it was different circumstances. I mean they were a really good team, and they're a really good team, and we're 3-4, I think, at the time, and we needed a win, and that was an amazing. We had a tough loss against Georgia Tech in that first game.
So you're telling me both times that Dabo's taken a team to Boston College, they've been sub 500?
Yeah, it does sound like it. It does sound like it. It does sound like it. Sorry for that. Dabo was taking his time there answering that question on his recent trip to Boston College.
Dabo waxing poetic about the first time he went to Boston.
That was kind of boring. Let's go to new audio here from earlier today. Let's go to the opening statement.
On the road again this week, so heading up to Boston.
Did he just pull a Willie Nelson? I
can't wait to get back on the road again.
So you set the opening statement over under at 7. Here's the opening statement from Dabo. By God, I hope it's not over. Here we go.
Appreciate it. Good morning, everybody. Back on the road again this week, so heading up to Boston. Always a
wait a minute. Did he just go on the road again and shipping up to Boston in the same sentence there? Two? Are we really going musical Dabo here? Sorry about that.
Place to play and always a tough team.
I bet his buddy bet that he couldn't put in 2 musical references.
And no different in this scenario. Watching the team, the record is 1-4, and this is far from a 1-4 football team.
Oh my God!
They are.
There you go. Pump that smoke,
but it's I mean, they're 4 plays away from being 4-1.
So are you, Dabo.
So
he loves to go with he loves the plays away, doesn't he? They're 4 plays away from being.
That's it, man. Just 4 plays.
I'm so tired of hearing that stuff. But anyways,
very well coached, and I know they are battling through some disappointment because they've had some heartbreakers. Michigan State game in overtime. Stanford game, they got a big lead and got away from them on a couple plays.
They blew it.
How many plays away were they from winning the 48-7 loss at Pitt? 19
last week. Comes
19.
down to the last play, lose that one. So they've had some real heartbreakers, as so have we. And but they have competed their butts off. And then this past week, kind of got away. They had a bunch of guys out. I mean, I don't know if y'all saw their injury report about it, but they had a ton of guys out, especially on defense. They had at least 10 guys out on defense, and just got in a hole early and against Pitt. I mean, it's a good team. I mean, literally a few
good
plays
team.
from 4-1.
Good team, Debo.
And very impressed when you watch the tape. It's probably the best OL we've played. As far as how they play together as a group. This is a really good offensive line.
They lost by 10 on the road at Stanford.
Strong, well coached.
Or 4 plays away in that game by itself.
A really good player. He's downhill. He's actually from Rock Hill. He'd be excited to play the Tigers.
Back that up.
Back's a really good player. He's downhill. He's actually from Rock Hill. He'd be excited to play the Tigers. They use him a lot in the passing game. I think they've got really good receivers. 4, I think, an NFL guy. This guy's 6'5", 217 pounds. He's a big body kid. 11 is going to be the all-time lead receiver in Boston. He's a really good player. 17 is a guy that they get the ball a ton. They got a couple other speed guys. I think one's been out for him. He's a good player. I don't know if he'll be back or not. Multiple formations. They do a good job as far as creating, formational challenge as far as how you line up and defending extra gaps, a ton of play action, a lot of max protection to get the shots downfield. And that's probably the biggest thing, looking at them. They're 11th in the nation in passing, so they're throwing the ball all over the park, but it comes through the run game. There's a ton of play. It's not like they're just dropping back and letting it rip. There's a ton of play action and really good scheme. The quarterback, I think, is a very good player. He's a kid we recruited. He's from down in Snellville, Georgia. He signed with Alabama, but he's a very good player. Again, 11th in the country in passing. They schematically really stress you, with how they go about, creating their shots through the run, the play action, a bunch of screens, and manipulation plays with throwbacks and things like that built into it. Backs free releasing a lot. I think he's maybe 3rd or so in receiving on the team, so you got to account for him. So I was very impressed, watching the tape. You don't know anything about a record. You just watch the tape and you're like, man, these guys they play tough. They're well coached. Quarterback, I think, is an elite thrower. He's very accurate. They got skill outside and they got a tough runner in the backfield. So I think it's a big challenge for us. And then on the other side, same thing. Big, strong, physical guys up front. Typical big physical linebackers that you always think about at BC.
Big physical.
And just a bunch of tight coverage. You got to make plays against these guys. I think they're well coached. They do a good job with their press technique. They do a good job getting hands on guys. You can tell they know and believe in their scheme. Got a couple big hitters. You better know where Zero is. He's a guy that shows up on tape every single week. Plays really hard for them. So physical group, tough group, a lot of pressure, a ton of pressure with this team, a lot of movement. And it's a tough matchup for us, and excited about the challenge. But, again, a night game, Chestnut Hill, it'd be a great environment and a great college football game. Look forward to it.
All right, we went under 4 minutes and 47 seconds. And
I counted at least 3 well coached in there.
There were, and my whole thing with what Dabo says, and I know coaches are going to coach speak, right? They give coaches speak. However, like my whole thing with the really good team, they're not a 1-4 team, whatever.
They're big, they're physical.
If you last week watched Clemson boat raced North Carolina in the first quarter, really in the first half, they were just we all saw North Carolina was not a good team. If Clemson goes up there and does the same thing, my point being, all this coaches speak, it's like, no, they're not a well-coached team. No, they're not disciplined. They had 75 yards of penalties in the first half. No, they're not big and physical. I know as coaches speak, but this is not a good Boston College team. I'm sorry. They're just not.
What I want to hear from Dabo Swinney is not blowing smoke up their skirts, telling them that they're big, telling them that they're physical, telling them that they're well-coached, telling them that they play hard, telling them that they don't quit, telling them that they fight. Tell us, Dabo, that we've only played one good football game all season. We've only played half of a good football game all season. We're not good enough right now to take anybody lightly. So we have to treat Boston College like they're a good football team. We have to treat them like they have tight coverage. We have to treat them like everything has to be precise and perfect to beat this football team. That is what we have to do. Come on, Dabo. You say all the time that it's all about us. We're not playing LSU. We're playing against Clemson. Well, talk to us like you're playing against Clemson. Admit the fact that you played half of a good football game, and when you put in your backup quarterback with your ones, the rest of the ones on the offensive side, you basically got shut down from that point forward.
Here is Dabo continued.
Good team. Any questions?
Is Elijah Thurman, is he getting closer?
Yeah, he's just kind of day to day right now. He'll be out this week, but he's not long term.
Quick answer there, by the way, and I mean a real quick answer. John Blau asking about an injury. Next question.
It's just one game, but what did you see from guys in the locker room after just finally getting the win on the board, playing well, like you said, and is that kind of carried over? You felt like people are looser, lighter, that type of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it was a great locker room. I mean, we have had some heartbreaks and just had, but honestly, we hadn't played well. I mean, that's just another way to say it. And so I think, again, we won the Troy game, but we didn't play well. And so it was good. It was good for them to win the game for sure, but to play well and to really see and feel what that looks like when they really put it all together as a group, complimentary wise. So no question. I mean, they played with great execution on both sides of the ball. And, it's fun to watch the tape, and you just see it, and it's fundamentals, it's precision in what you're doing. It's making the critical play. It's making the routine play, so yeah, that part was really good. And, so now we got to create consistency in performance, so that comes through practice and it's confidence. Hopefully they're coming out of it with some confidence. They can be reminded of, no, this is who you are. I mean, again, when you have a tough start like we have at a place like Clemson, I mean, there's a lot of noise, there's a lot of criticism and things like that. These are young people and can affect your confidence. So for them to be able to have a game like that and hopefully be reminded, like, this is who you are. And, now you guys got to build on it. Again, just the same things that won that game are the same things that can win the next game, and it's just doing the little things well. I think we've had really good preparation all year, honestly. But taking it to game day. So another opportunity this week, and just thought the mindset and kind of, with a reset with those guys was good. So, but it doesn't get any easier. I mean, everybody we play, we know we're going to get everybody's best. And this is a good football team.
It actually did get a lot easier. You went from playing LSU and Georgia Tech to North Carolina. It got College, tremendously easier.
Now, there was a nugget in what he said there that is true. This is an opportunity for us to remember who we are. And he's taking the purely positive side. We're Clemson. We're loaded with elite players. We know we've got good talent. We know that we have, weapons all over the place and good coordinators offensively and defensively. This is our opportunity to remember who we are. I want to hear Dabo say, Dabo Swinney say, we also have an opportunity to be reminded of who we were the first 5 weeks of the season. So I'm challenging my players to decide this week, who are we? Can we build some consistency in that direction and remind the college football crowd who has shut us down and who has written us off that we are the Clemson you thought we were before the season started?
Yeah, you got to figure out how to get back in the top 25. I know that's not like a good end goal, and I know Clemson fans shouldn't be content with that, but like you have to figure out, okay, we had a 1-3 start. We've got to do what we can do to get back in the top 25. Just the bottom line is, Diesel, you can't end the season not in the top 25. And Clemson has an opportunity to be in the top 25. They really do. More of Dabo, a few more minutes here.
Sure, they're well coached and tough physical group that you got to go beat. You know, they're not gonna give you anything.
You mentioned reminding players who they are. Just curious, what's that look like? Is that showing them film or like words of encouragement? How do you get them going to like remember how talented they could play to the level of their talent?
Yeah, all of the above. I mean, it's certainly your meetings and your encouragement and watching a ton of film, and then it's just going and doing it and getting the results. You know, I think that's a big part of it. Coming off a game like that, because again, sometimes you got some guys that are really playing well, but they're not getting the results. You know, so you kind of want those guys to continue doing what they're doing, and then other guys that haven't played as well, like how do we get them going, and how do we encourage them? How do we, whether it's watching more, some tape differently or whatever it is. But the guys responded well, and again, just the energy, the complimentary aspect of it, and something they can gain some confidence from. But it's just one game, and got to try to build one week at a time, one day at a time. Big day today.
I do wish these reporters in this room would ask a little more pointed questions instead of just sort of open-ended, give Dabo an out to wax poetic about whatever he wants to wax poetic about. Ask those specific questions, would you, please?
Which, like what?
I mean, just what has changed about Cade's preparation specifically? Because he went from ... bad performances the first 5 weeks. What changed about his preparation going into this week? How is he going to make sure that he continues that going into next week? Just specific questions instead of wide open ones.
No, I'm with you. I look,
just me.
Ultimately, Dabo's interviews on a weekly basis all pretty much sound very similar. They don't sound tremendously different. You change the team, Diesel, but a lot of Dabo's pressers sound the same. A lot of them do. And we know what we're going to get with Dabo Swinney. We know what we're going to get. Hey, we also know what we're going to get with Jack Veltri. In case you missed it, Jack Veltri joins the show every Tuesday. He's awesome. Talking Gamecocks, transfer portal, next, in case you missed it, with Jack Veltri.